Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Saul's Rest. We've been away for a long time, but we are back again, and I am so excited for everything that's going to happen. We have a brand new format on our stream. I'm gesturing emphatically to you on Zoom. It's going to look like I'm just being an idiot, but to everybody else, I also look like an idiot, but I'm gesturing at things that are happening around me. Um, I'm super excited to be back doing this again. This is a pre-recorded episode because it's summer and we are all adults. Some of us with children, some of us with very small children, some of us with very, very, very small children. So scheduling is kind of a mixed bag.
Crapshoot.
Crapshoot is probably a good way to go about
Adventure.
that. Yeah. So
That's a
Crapshoot
nice
is
way
the
to put it.
nicest way to put it. Yeah.
the first few episodes very likely are going to be pre-recorded. We will eventually go back to a live format once our schedules resemble normalcy, which, let's face it, may never happen, but we'll do what we can. You recognize most of these faces from the previous campaign, the previous Saul's Rest campaign. Malin, or Beth, who played Malin in the last campaign, has decided that her schedule is just too chaotic and has decided that she's going to leave the campaign, let her character rest on her laurels from there. Whereas we've invited Jess, who is in the Gravendale campaign, and you've seen her about in Goop Wicket and a number of other things. She streams frequently with Seven Tail Fox, with Kit, whom I affectionately refer to as Schmoopsy. So you've seen her about, but everybody else should be more or less fairly familiar. We've got Brian, we've got Kit, we've got Phoenix, and we've got David. And for anybody that really loves Easter eggs, if you look in the bottom right of Jess's screen, you can see her character from Goop Wicket, the little plushie that she did purchase right before the game ended. Folded like a flan in a cupboard. At any rate,
Exactly what I thought.
and here's the thing: like 4 people understood that. 4.
I just want plan.
I mean, fair.
More people know. More people know her content.
People currently who are going to watch this understood that, and probably only 2 people on this call right now.
Okay. Fair. We should educate others.
So welcome to Saul's Rest, Arcastorim. This is... I don't know where this is going to go. It's going to be a whole ass thing. I have ideas, but also a lot of it is going to be improv. We have characters from all different timelines throughout all of my campaign. We have, new characters. We have reprised characters. We have, a reprised character. And it's just going to be crazy. It's just going to be crazy. So we are going to start. I need everybody present to roll a D100, please, a percentile.
D100.
Don't shout them out. I'll call on you in just a second. So starting with, we're just going to go on by where my Zoom is set up. Brian, what was yours? You're muted, buddy.
I got a 16.
Okay. Jess, what was yours?
38.
All right. Schmoopsy?
I got a 21.
Excellent.
Blackjack.
Nice. Phoenix?
Just in time, I got a 72.
Okay. And then David?
80.
Okay.
80.
Nothing you need to worry about this particular game. Excellent.
Great.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to come back to bite you in the butt, I promise.
I don't trust you.
Sure.
That's probably best that you shouldn't.
We have learned.
Mm-hmm.
We start in the maelstrom of time. The time stream, such as it is, flows more or less in a specific direction. Time, as perceived by mortals, is linear, after all. But as those of us who are well versed in the arcane know, time is not simple cause to effect, but a big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. And that, right there, is what we're looking at. That big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. Imagine, if you will, one of those electricity devices with the globe where you stick your fingers on it and your hair starts to stand on end when you have hair. Um, Kind of that, but infinitely more chaotic. At the center of which there is an entity. Some ancient, powerful, dating back to before recorded history, an entity that, for the most part, cannot be perceived by mortals. But when it is, on the rare occasion that it is and can be perceived, it is seen as a dragon. So, that said, we begin our tale with clicking on the right tab to get to my notes.
I offered you a tail for the tail.
Beginning of our tale?
It was good.
It was well
I'm big on
timed.
tails.
Kiki was perfect with her timing.
Well, thank you, Kiki. I appreciate it. So we're going to start with Melisandus. Is that pronounced correctly, Schmoopsy?
Yes, Melisandus.
Melisandus and Tuppy. Melisandus, I need you to physically describe your character. I don't give a shit what he is, what he's about, any of that stuff. What would people see as he steps into view of the camera for the first time, the lens of our imagination?
Fair enough. Melisandus is fairly tall, rather slender, holds himself with a very dignified bearing, dark black hair, bright blue eyes, I believe he has. Yes, bright blue eyes, and rather pale skin. Seems like he does not get out and see the sun very much. He is also elven, so typical elven features of pointy ears and such. And often bedecked in robes and magical accoutrements.
Okay. Gambling about his feet intermittently, kind of wending his way around his ankles in the way that cats do, but also randomly leaping into the air and flapping his little wings as his small companion, a pseudo-dragon. Dark purplish scales, sort of almost an impish sort of nose. He's adorable, but don't tell him that. Melisandus, you are walking through the wasteland. The area of the continent which will eventually, though is not now, be known as Solonel. You are walking through the wasteland in the wake of the devastation of one of the many hordes of the Orc Lord, as it is traversed this way, not all that long ago, devastating everything in view, razing villages to the ground, burning, pillaging, other unpleasant things. Not far away, you hear the sounds of butchering. You know the Orc horde is close. You know that as powerful as a mage as you are, as you've become, you don't stand a chance against the entire strength of the Horde. But you're close. You're close to what you seek. What brought you here was a rumor of a place that existed not quite outside of time, but sort of bridging the gap between time and space. You came all the way from the continent to the north, came from all the way from the continent to the north, traveled here, braved the devastation and the ferocity of the orcish horde to find yourself standing in this place right now. As Tuppy kind of bounces through the air around you, nervously, you can feel his nervous energy as it fuels him flitting about your head in a most distracting manner. You see him kind of put his nose to the air at one point and I smell the orcs. We need to keep moving.
Agreed. It would be best not to linger here too terribly long.
But we're close, right?
As near as I can tell, it's not an exact science, as it were. But I do hope we are close. If not, we may be in a bit of trouble.
I don't really care for trouble. Can we avoid trouble? I'd like to avoid trouble.
If at all possible, we will certainly do so. If you could calm yourself a bit, it may help me to focus.
Oh, right. So he goes in for a landing and he's aiming for your shoulder, but he kind of misses and like right against your head. Oh, sorry. And he kind of crawls down and like perches on your shoulder like like a parrot or a cat that thinks he's a parrot.
I'm imagining it kind of like something that my actual real life cat will sometimes do, where they try to hop up on my shoulder but don't quite get the distance that they intended.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of that quick like scramble, like catch him against my chest and like push him the rest of the way up.
Yep.
Just like, all right, and then we continue on.
So go ahead, Melisandus, and make a investigation check. Tuppy is going to give you the help action, so you may roll your investigation with advantage.
Beautiful. That'll be a 24.
Nice. You glance around the area of devastation. The area you have found yourself in is a large island at the kind of meeting point in the center of three fairly decent-sized rivers. Near as you can figure, you're close to the very center of the continent. And as you get to the center of this island, which again, it's a large island. Think like Manhattan-sized, right?
Okay.
Not as like long and stretched out. It's more roundish, but trapezoidal, I think maybe would be a better term. But you get to what you view would be closest to the center. Like this used to be what appears to be a small town. And you'd heard rumor, part of what drew you here is that once upon a time there had been a powerful arcanist's tower in this area.
Gotcha.
As you move through, getting uncomfortably closer to the sounds of the butchery, which you think might just be happening just across the river to the east. You find yourself at what had been the center of town. and there appears to be the remains of an old inn. It's been razed to the ground at this point. Now, whatever conflict had caused this area to be abandoned and destroyed, it happened long enough ago that it's not like it's still smoldering. It's been a while.
Sure.
But you sense more than see the warbling effect of a disturbance in the time-space continuum. Now, you're a time mage. That's part of your makeup.
Yes.
Time sense is not really part of that, but you do occasionally feel the odd shift in time when you are close to such phenomenon.
Well, definitely worth investigating.
Right, he says, and he kind of perches on your shoulder, almost slides off, scrabbles for purchase, gets back up.
All right.
So,
well, we are. Oh, I was going to say we're fairly close to combat, so I don't want to ritually cast it, but I think I'm going to bring up Detect Magic and just kind of get a better sense of the more specifics of this ripple in space-time.
okay. So you bring up, close your eyes, you open them again, your eyes kind of crackle with some arcane energy. How does your mouth, when your power does manifest, what does it look like?
Like wizardly powers or like time energy.
What does time energy look like in your
head? That is a good question. There's probably a little bit more of a glow to the eyes. Like they're normally a pretty bright blue, actually very close to the color of Tupi's eyes.
Sure.
But when kind of the magic is going off, the eyes glow a little bit closer to the color because Tupi has kind of a more almost bioluminescent kind of blue to him.
Sure.
And just the air surrounding me gets just a little bit. It's like it's almost warped. It's a little bit simultaneously thicker and thinner. And everything just kind of is almost hazy while those effects are going off.
Yeah. So yeah, the eyes kind of glow with this bioluminescent color. The area around you visibly grows more hazy, although it doesn't obstruct vision. And you kind of glance around the area, and it doesn't take you long before your gaze settles on a faint glow coming from the ground, somewhere in the vicinity of this ruined tavern.
Okay, I will go and investigate the source of this glow.
You move to the source of the glow and kind of look down, and you see there's some debris scattered over it, but as you look kind of under the debris and kind of lift up a couple of boards and some rubble, you see a small, a trapdoor large enough for a human man or an elf if they were inclined to do so. And that seems to be the source. The trapdoor itself is not the source of the glow, it's whatever's behind it.
Okay. I will. You know what? I'm going to check it for any traps, magical or non.
Okay, go ahead and make another investigation check. Once again, Tuppy is giving you the help action.
Excellent. Oh, that is a nat 20, so 27.
Nice. You do not see any traps. Honestly, it doesn't even look like it's locked.
Well,
Somehow
That
it
will
was
make this.
missed in the looting phase.
Well, that will make this much easier then. I will try to kind of quietly and then stealthily move off whatever debris may have fallen on top of this trap door and get it cleared so that I can stealthily, quietly open the door and check within.
Have you ever seen, maybe not ever seen, but just imagine for a moment, like a highbrow academic, like from Oxford or Cambridge or something like that, on the scene of an archaeological dig in their full, like, academic suit. They're wearing a bunch of tweed
Sure.
and moving debris, like manual labor. That's the kind of energy that is
Yeah.
here right now.
Yeah, and strength is not his strong suit, so it's probably not going terribly well.
It's not, but fortunately, there doesn't seem to be an excessive amount of debris over it, and the debris that is there is not terribly heavy. Again, it occurs to
Good.
you that this is a little strange that this was missed.
Yeah.
But, I mean, usually the pillaging horde is interested in other things.
Fair.
So you clear
Right.
the trap door. Do you open it?
I absolutely, quietly and stealthily, open the trapdoor.
You open the trap door. It opens fairly quietly, all things considered. And as you open it, you get the whiff that immediately triggers a sense memory, kind of like your laboratory back home, your library, adjacent to your library back where you live, where you came from. There's just that kind of, and you're immediately kind of mentally, not physically, but mentally transported back to your laboratory library back in your home. And as you creep down the steep stairs, you see, and we cut from there.
Ooh.
So we cut from there to Hale.
I'm here.
You have been doing your thing in and around the continent that will one day be known as Solano, and as at this point is not called that, for some time. The undead hordes at this point in your timeline uh, are pretty widespread. It ain't looking good for the non undead, the living individuals. And you find yourself uh, seeking some kind of artifact that you had read about, something that would do twofold things. One, it would help alleviate, if not fully cure, your bloodlust, and in addition serve as a very powerful weapon against the undead hordes. Unfortunately, it is smack in the middle of territory that is largely controlled is the wrong word. Overrun is probably more accurate. And as you are moving through, you moving through, and you're kind of you're a fucking paladin, right? Like you are this kind of beacon of hope and light, and stealth is not really your strong suit. But you do recognize that if you bring down the entire area of undead down upon you, you're probably not going to walk away from it. So as you kind of step through the viscerated boneyard of this region, what do we see? Describe yourself.
So Hale has. I will get off camera so you can see him as I describe him. Hale has light brown hair, the slightly pointed ears of a half elf, and a beard that does come from his human heritage. Bright blue eyes and just slightly pointed teeth, which uh, indicate that he himself may not be entirely living. Despite that, he has done everything that he can to fight against the forces of the undead. He wears heavy, not heavy, actually fairly light mithril plate armor as he kind of trudges through this boneyard. Two swords are on either side of his belt. He wears no shield, has no shield, and wears a simple cloak off of his back as he strides forward toward where he thinks this artifact is located.
Okay. As you step forward, I would like you to make an investigation check, please.
Can do. That's cocked. It was cocked between a 2 and a 20.
Gun reroll.
So that is a 14 total.
14 total. So you are moving through this area. You're not from this immediate region. You are currently sort of center in the continent on this island. And as you're moving through, the town that you were in is abandoned at this point, but the buildings are largely intact. It looks like the undead aren't interested in burning things down or occupying things. They're mostly just interested in eating anything that's alive. So the buildings here are mostly intact. Whatever buildings are burned down, you're guessing were probably burned in an effort to burn the undead that were inside of them at the time. Um, but as you're moving along, you are walking through a street, kind of quietly creeping along one side, and out of the corner of your eye, you catch a glint of kind of a gunmetal color, like a gunmetal of gunmetal, I guess.
Yeah.
And as you kind of turn to look, you see lying prone near the opening of this alleyway that you just approached, a one of the metal men that the one of the arcane artificers had started employing in use against the undead. As the living themselves were getting fewer and fewer, um, having creatures that were not likely to turn if they were killed, fighting your war for you, seemed like a good idea. You know them to be referred to as Warforged. This one seems to be dead, inert, unconscious. You really don't know what their immobile state is, but other than that, like, he's not moving and he's not responding, but he's seems reasonably intact.
Hale will approach cautiously, one hand on one of his swords. What would be the check to make to discern what might be wrong with this thing, if in fact there is anything wrong with the Warforged?
Uh, on a living, breathing creature, it would be a medicine check, but this isn't one of those things. I
Yep.
would like you to go ahead and make either an Arcana check or a Tinker's Tool check.
Well, I have Arcana, so let's do that.
Okay.
Total of 20.
Um, so as you're looking at it, you realize that he's intact, but he has been damaged. It looks like he was in a bit of a fight. And as you kind of come up next to him and you're inspecting him, you see just a little ways above him, lying kind of near his head, you see this steel dog looking creature, roughly the size of a. Brian, steel defenders are small or medium?
Medium.
Okay. So roughly the size of a person, but like think like a Saint Bernard, like just this big hulking metallic dog. And even as you kind of move forward and kind of like check over this inert metal man, you see it raise its head and kind of cock its head to one side. And you hear, if it were a dog, an actual dog, it would be a whine, but it kind of sounds more like a squeaky hinge. And you see its metallic tail kind of scraping very gently against the ground. It doesn't seem to be intimidated or worried about you or afraid of you at all.
Would the check that I just made tell me how I might be able to fix the thing?
One of the features that they included with these metal men is while they are both incapable, or while they are definitely incapable of coming back as like a ghoul or something to that effect, they can be healed through the usual means. They can be healed through magic.
I think Hale will dump, I don't know, a point of lay on hands until the thing, and then continue doing that until the Warforged wakes up, if you will.
Okay, so Chapel. The last thing you remember is you were in the town of Saul's Rest as it was being overrun by the undead. You and the town's elder, a man whom you didn't catch his name, but was a giant barrel-chested man with black hair and a beard, and a number of other individuals, fought to allow the townsfolk to retreat. The last thing you recall is you and... Is that Vigil or Virgil?
Vigil.
Vigil. You and Vigil were defending the retreat of a small group of individuals. And you knew, like, you'd already been fairly badly damaged in all this. You knew that staying behind was going to give them the time to escape. But you also knew that you weren't walking away. That's the last thing you remember. You wake up to this handsome Obi-Wan looking motherfucker standing over you with a hand kind of on your chest plate. Now, you're not getting malicious vibes. He's clearly, with his mouth closed, he's clearly alive. And you hear Vigil squeaking above you in his squeaky way.
And to play into the bit, Hale says, "Hello there."
That made me happy. Thank you, David.
What
do you do?
Greetings. And
you appear
your... My apologies. What did you say?
You appear broken. Or you were.
I am damaged. Yes.
David, how much did you pump into him?
I mean, however much it took to get him back up. I don't know how damaged.
One hit point would get him back up.
And probably just that.
So if you did, if you did your, is it, I can't remember, with your lay on hands, is it a pool or is it a number of dice? I don't remember.
I think it's a pool.
It's a pool.
It's a pool.
Yep, it's a pool now.
Currently, Chapel, you have one hit point.
How many of my, spell slots and abilities do I have at this point? Because I'm assuming I've used some of that.
Technically speaking, you got a long rest.
Okay. I will stand up to kind of take in and observe the area just to kind of get a just kind of taking in the surroundings, making sure there's no immediate threat.
You don't see
Hale
any
will assist
undead.
you
You
up
don't
if you'd
hear
like.
any undead. The place looks abandoned. Uh, you are genuinely not sure how long you have been here.
Okay.
I will say that Vigil looks a little rough around the edges, and not. I mean, he was damaged as well. Like he was damaged in the fight. Um, but he looks rusted in certain places.
Well, maybe not. Well, yeah, those metal components that aren't mithril.
Right. I mean, just like because he's got mostly mithril plating, but there's a couple of like joints and joinings and buckles and whatnot that are steel.
I'm going to do a cure wounds on myself, doing a second level. Yeah, it healed me 7, so that's not horrible.
Hale asks, while you're doing that, what do you remember what brought you here initially?
I was attempting to delay the horde, the undead horde, long enough for the village, and townfolk to escape.
Hale, go ahead and make a history check.
Well, I know history, hypothetically, but that was not a good roll. So 7.
Okay. You have you knew this area was overrun at some point. You have no recollection of the specific date when this area was overrun, but you know it's been more than a year.
Hale will say, well, by my reasoning, it's been more, you likely have been here more than a year.
And Chapel just kind of nods, like, and what is your designation? I'm
Living.
sorry. Your
In
name?
Fact, okay, I'm glad you specified, because I am living, not of the dead. My name is Hale, and yours?
I am Chapel.
A lovely name. Say, you were fighting against the undead. I have no particular love for the undead myself. In fact, I am seeking an artifact that may, in fact, turn the tide against them. Would you consider helping me?
You see, they take a moment to again kind of survey the domain. Is like, it appears I do not have any primary objectives at this point.
Care for a new one?
Very well.
Okay.
Wonderful. I think it's that way.
Fair enough. As you go and start moving, Hale, you kind of outline what it was you were looking for, uh, and what you'd heard of this artifact. And I will say that Chapel, go ahead and make a, you know what? No, Chapel, you would know that the town elder, while he kind of ran and operated the inn and tavern at the center of the town, um, he was much more than just a tavern keeper and a town elder. You definitely got that impression. Like he was sort of the heart and soul of this particular village. And so you know that any such item or whatnot would likely be located somewhere in and around his home, which was the tavern.
Which was the tavern,
Yes.
did you say?
Yeah.
If the elder did not leave with the item and the horde did not get it, then it is most likely at the tavern that was his domicile.
Would a Hale have observed where that was?
Well, so here's the thing. No, you were trying to look around in various different places. You didn't roll sufficient on your investigation check. You're kind of heading in the wrong direction. Um, you were looking at like magic shops and whatnot, which is kind of why you were on the block that you were on with Chapel, where you
Sure.
found Chapel. But you're also not terribly familiar with this town. So as you kind of look around, you're like, okay, I genuinely have no idea where I am.
Well, then it might not be this way. Do you know where it might be?
Yes, I believe I can direct us. If you'll give me just a moment for a brief assessment, and Chapel will like just double check that they're different items. So you see like Chapel's left hand, like 3-digit hand, all of a sudden the fingers kind of collapse into the wrist, and all of a sudden a set of like different metal protrusions and probes of a sort of a kind that may look familiar as lockpicks to those that are thieves' tools for those of that inclination. And then it kind of, they proceed to recede back in, and then kind of the fingers pop back up. And then you see, he looks over at his right hand, and you see the fingers collapse in, and then a blade about 2 feet in length stick out, and then proceeds to go back in, and then you see the fingers kind of pop back out, and it's like, and then proceeds to double check a light crossbow, and is like, I am ready.
Wow. That very impressive.
Chapel, you lead Hale and Vigil to the center of town, where you see the curled, crimson-hued tavern, the sign of which has fallen, but you know to be called the Red Dragon Inn. And it's more or less intact, from what you can see. You have a vivid memory of meeting here in a frantic moment and discussing the town's defenses with the Elder and a number of other individuals before getting sent on your way that ended up you befalling your particular fate. But you see the tavern before you. You know the innkeeper kept a room, but you also know that there is a basement with a wine cellar and whatnot.
Is the building itself in okay repair, or is it damaged?
It is in okay repair. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look like there was any damage in the fighting from what you can see on the outside. Any damage or what have you seems to have come from just ill use, not being used for a year plus.
Okay. I must admit a curiosity to the use of the red dragon iconography, but perhaps meant to scare away weaker prey, like a gargoyle.
It does seem a bit brash, doesn't it?
That being said, I believe the Elder's domicile, or room in particular, was most likely upstairs, although I do not know which room. But I believe there is also a wine cellar that was which would seem to be a more secure location in general.
Well, you're familiar with this town, and certainly more familiar with this elder. Where do you think they would have put it?
Could I make I realize it's kind of a retroactive insight check to kind of get the character of the elder as far in terms of just personality?
So in general, we're going to refer to this as a vibe check, and yes, it is an insight. Go ahead and roll it.
Love the vibe check.
Hey, 19 on the die. So 23.
Nice. Your based on your impressions of the man, he was again a very large, very powerfully built man. It looks like he was a warrior in his youth. He was an older guy, you'd guess probably in human years, probably around late 40s. Um, uh, but you get the impression that he was not super well versed in magic, and would likely not keep very powerful magical things close to him, um, as there is sort of an inherent distrust.
I think it may be best then for us to start with the cellar area first, as I believe the elder was not a greedy individual from what I could perceive, but was also not very familiar with arcane things.
Well, I was hoping we would start in the wine cellar, because as far as I know, the undead have no particular care for wine, so hopefully we can find a good vintage while we're down there.
Right. You. Sorry, go ahead.
So I go.
Was ask, do you care about such things? Can you enjoy wine?
And you see, there's a little head tilt, and then I do not imbibe. Vigil, guard, and so Vigil will stay in the main room, kind of.
So he does that thing that dogs do when they're like told to kind of sit and stay, where he drops his butt to the floor, and if it were a living dog, there would be a pronounced thump. But as it is a metal dog, it's much more of a clang.
Yeah, and I was just looking at Vigil's skills, and stealth is not one of them. So
yeah, so decided bong as he sits down.
Granted, Chapel is not subtle either in that regards, but
so you go into the kitchen, and there's there's not a trapdoor to speak of, but there's like a steep, like there's a kind of an alcove with a steep set of stairs going down. Stairs like the kind of stairs that almost look more like a ladder. And you guys kind of climb down into there, and you do see you get the like hail, you get the kind of earthy sense of like you were definitely subterranean. There's a bit of a vinegar smell, as it smells like some of the wine might have been smashed, but you certainly do see a number of intact bottles.
What check can I make to find the best vintage there?
Make a sommelier check.
Yeah, what's a sommelier check?
Honestly, realistically, it'd be like
tools, maybe?
Yeah, it'd be like chef's tools or something like that. But in lieu of that, go ahead and just make a wisdom check.
Nice. All right, not bad, not bad. Here, let me get to where my wisdom is. Total of 21.
Nice. Yeah, you actually do find a couple of older bottles. One of Elven vintage. Do you speak Elven?
I do.
Read Elven?
I do.
You do. Okay, so you're able to pick out the year. It's about 1,000 years old.
Hale puts that in the backpack that he has, which I forgot to describe, but he has one, so he puts that in the backpack.
And then there is a bottle of dwarven wine, which has roughly the same proof as most most human whiskeys. Which it's newer by about 600 years, but that still makes it about 400 years old.
He's going to take both and then put them in the backpack and then continue on his way.
Okay.
While Hale is looking for that,
yeah,
can I investigate to look more for like hidden
go ahead
niches or whatever?
Since you're actively looking.
No.
I will remind this is a situation where if you wanted to default to a 10, you can default to a 10.
Well, I rolled a 10 total.
Okay. Well, but what I'm saying, you can default to your passive investigation if that happens to be better, since you're not actively in combat.
Well, okay, so my passive investigation would be a 16 then.
Okay. It actually, as Hale is kind of poking through the various wine bottles, and like there's a large number of other decent wines in here and other spirits as well, but those were the two best that you found. But as he's doing that, Chapel, you kind of poke around, and yeah, sure enough, kind of near the back, partially covered by one of the larger, like what looks like ale casks. And we're not talking like room size cask, but like like the size of a minivan cask. Like it's a good size cask. Sitting over it, or sitting over on top of this or under this is a trapdoor. You do recognize that you would have to move the cask in order to get into the trapdoor.
Okay. Do you consider yourself strong in arm?
Hale looks over and says, I've met stronger, I've met many who are weaker.
Well, to find what you're looking for, we most likely will need to move that.
Ah. It looks like something I could move.
As come to think of it, the elder, as I recall, definitely had the physique of one used to wielding a sword.
Wonderful. Well, I'm sure that with our combined efforts, we should be able to move it.
Come to think of it, it was a very large sword.
It sure was. All right, so David, if you want to roll the primary, and do you want to give him the help action?
I would like to aid.
Okay, so David, go ahead and roll with it. I'm sorry, Hale, go ahead and roll with advantage.
Both pretty good rolls, but the highest netted an 18. Are we doing straight up strength or athletics?
This is straight up strength.
So 18.
18. Okay. Yeah, you are able to between the two of you, like it's not a lift situation, it is a drag situation, as this is a very full cask. But yeah, between the two of you, it takes some doing, but you manage to pull it away. Again, not a quiet endeavor. But as you do that, you see the trapdoor is no longer blocked.
I saw some things on your... Does it look like I have a lock mechanism on there?
Yes, there does appear to be a lock.
I saw you had some utensils in your hand that might be able to help with that.
I should clarify. It appears to be like an inset lock, right? It's not like a padlock or anything like that. It appears to be like a key situation.
Yes, I should be able to assist.
Okay. Why, thank you.
And I'll kneel down next to it and...
Actually, even as your hand kind of changes and it pulls it, you pull out your thieves' tools. You're gonna kind of go, and you realize, oh no, it's unlocked.
Oh.
Apparently, whoever was here last thought the cask would be a sufficient deterrent, and as it did take two of you to move it, probably not entirely wrong.
So I will still double check it to see if there is any sort of trap-like feature on it.
Go ahead and make a investigation check, please.
16.
Okay. It does not appear to be trapped in any way that you can discern.
Then I'll put the thieves' tools away and I will open it up.
Okay. You open it up. There's a stairwell going down that the two of you descend.
Yeah.
Okay. The two of you descend. And what you see... Lyle!
Oh, hey, it's me.
Hey, you. We're gonna pick you up. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Can't sing anymore or Twitch will ban me. Um, okay, so Lyle, um, you have been wandering for a while at this point. Remind me of
Yes.
Lyle's pronouns. They or they them, correct?
They are they them.
Okay. Um, so Lyle, you have been wandering for some time at this point. Things in the Fifth Age have gotten real weird. Um, And when I say real weird, I mean you're aware, everybody's aware of the war between the multitudinous gods um, in the heavens that has bled through the various planes onto the prime material in weird and sundry ways. And sometimes they're pretty tame, and sometimes they're exceptionally deadly. You heard tell at one point of a rainstorm where it was raining leeches, but the leeches, anything they attached to, would not suck out blood, but every ounce of water in a thing's body. You heard tell of a forest, an old forest that at one point just every last one of them turned into an ent. Every single tree in that forest turned into an ent. You heard tell of rivers running with water changing from standard water to boiling caustic acid, usually while there's somebody either boating or swimming across. So things of this nature have drastically affected the landscape of
Yeah.
the
Cool,
world
cool.
that you live in.
Cool.
And you and your species uh, were. It's a long and complicated story, but the long and the short of it is the war between the gods was originally pinned, was believed, laid at the feet of the Cadoran race. And so not only have you been having to dodge the random and weird stuff that's happening to the prime material plane as a result of this interminable conflict, but you have also had to stay away from whatever authority exists still, despite the craziness, because they are bound and determined to complete a full-on genocide on your entire species.
Yeah, which, they've been quite successful with so far.
They have. To that point, you, to your knowledge, you may be the only one left. Like, you don't have any real proof one way or another that you are the only one left, but you haven't seen another member of your species in a very long time. That said, some weeks ago, you ran into an individual, a halfling, who was sympathetic to you and your situation. Um, they were very friendly. They were very charismatic. They didn't exactly win you over, but they were really hard not to like. And they told you that they came from a place on the continent of Solonel, which it is now called, um, that this sort of thing, this genocide that is being enacted upon your entire species, would not be tolerated. More than that, you would be protected by the town elder. And you were skeptical, of course. Like, how could one man, one person, protect against all of this? And the halfling said, wait till you meet him. And so, out of really lack of anything better,
I have no other options.
you made your way to Saul's Rest. The town is bustling. It is the most populous town that you have seen in months, and that makes you hella nervous.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach? Do you attempt to hide? Oh, I'm sorry. As you kind of step into view of the town, please describe your character.
Oh yeah. Oh sure. Don't worry. They do not have a Minnesotan accent. It's fine. So Lyle is much like you see on my picture. They are uh average height. Red mohawk because sometimes we have to self-insert a little bit. Um, they've got a bit of a scar on one of their eyebrows. Have obviously seen some action. Very piercing green eyes, like very green. And then is wearing whatever the fuck armor I'm wearing. Mithril full plate, yeah. We don't fuck around here. And has two scimitars that are strapped on each hip. Um, just very very evident that they are used to defending themselves and to fighting. So I would be very anxious approaching a town like this. I have learned towns usually equal not good things for me. And so if there's like a tree line or something that I can kind of be trying to hide myself in as I'm just scoping it out.
Well, the town itself is on an island in the midst of the crux of three rivers.
Cool,
So you
cool, cool.
can kind of pick. You could pick one of the rivers to kind of be on the other side of and scope things out, or you would.
Are there like, if it's bustling, are there like carts or wagons or like a cart that's covered?
Well, I imagine as you would want to try to enter this town as discreetly as possible, if indeed you aren't planning to do so, you would have done so at night. So we're going to say
Okay.
that it is getting to be dusk, like the sun is
Okay.
setting, because you
Cool.
want to be able to check out the town while it's still light, but you also want it
Yeah.
to be like, okay, if I do decide to go in, I want to make sure that I don't have to sit here and wait for fucking ever.
Yeah.
So as you're kind of sitting, and there's like on the edge of this where you picked this spot to observe on the side of the river, there is a tree line, and you were able to kind of keep yourself out of immediate view unless somebody was actively looking for you.
Okay. Cool.
And so there you kind of view it. It is dusk. There are carts that are kind of coming and going a little bit. The distant rumbling and the ever changing kind of light and hue of the sky that is kind of the earmark of this era seem to be less pronounced here.
Okay. So yeah, I will just kind of watch and see. And then once it's like not waiting for full dark, because I feel like that tends to look suspicious, but dark enough that it would not be easy necessarily to tell what my race is. I can look like a human.
Okay.
Um,
and here's the thing about the Cadoran species. Cadorans present very much as if they are human.
yeah.
Like, there's no actual physical features that would indicate that they're anything but. However, there's a certain disconnect in the uncanny valley that a lot of normal humans, like human humans, non-Cadoran humans, find disconcerting isn't the right term, but just a little other, if you will.
Yeah. So just hoping that like the dusk slightly after, like where it's dark enough, hoping that would tip off fewer people. Okay. It's dark, so any sort of like unease could potentially be, the coming night or the darkness or whatever.
So
and then I will try to slip into the town.
So as you, so the town has 3 bridges that you observed when you kind of did your initial scope around, going over each of the rivers. which means there are exactly three gates.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were kind of observing, at one point, you observed. Go ahead and make an insight check for me, please.
It's only a 12.
Okay. And then make a perception check.
15.
Okay. So with your insights check, as you're kind of observing as dusk is drawing close, the sun is starting to set, and you start to kind of set yourself to move into town. As you're observing the guards as they're kind of letting people come and go, and they're watching at the gates, you're realizing that they are prepping to close the gate. You're getting the impression that they close the
Mm.
gates at probably at sunset.
Okay.
Which either, I mean, does that galvanize your intent to get in there before?
How high are the walls?
The walls right here are kind of like a sheer maybe 15 feet.
Okay.
Wouldn't be an impossible climb, but it would be tough.
Definitely tough without drawing attention. I will. Ugh, I will get in before the gates close.
Okay. As you kind of move to fly casual, so to speak,
Hmm.
towards the gate, your eyes and ears kind of pick up. Well, not it's less your eyes and ears, more your sense of smell.
Hmm.
You smell the unmistakable scent of another member of your species. And as
Inside the city?
you glance around as you're approaching, and you see the source of the smell, and it is one of the guards.
I fly very casual in this moment
Okay.
because I know what I've been told by this friendly halfling, but like if this person has somehow managed to fly under the radar, I am not outing them.
Make a deception check, please.
Okay. Oh, I am not good at deception. But hey, that's a 17 on the die right
Oh,
there.
that's real good there.
Oop.
So does that mean you have a total of 17?
I have a total of 17. I fly what I feel is real hella casual.
Man, that's pretty good. They don't seem like them, and like there's a small handful of other town guard about. Um, and the individual that you recognize as being Kadoran, um, at one point, like they're scanning the crowd who are kind of coming and going, and their gaze travels right over you. Like it's not even doesn't even register that you're really like they register that you're there, but not that you're anything other than just what you are presenting yourself to be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you, in that moment, you sense his scent change from kind of casually guarded to more like hackles are up sort of situation.
Oh, okay. Okay. I am just gonna go.
Okay.
We're flying casual.
You see one of the non Kadoran guard, one of the non Kadoran guards, as you kind of walk forward, and he kind of glances at the sun as you walk, or she kind of glances up at the setting sun as you're walking forward, and you realize that you're one of the very few people who are coming in. Most
Mm-hmm.
people are leaving. But she kind of turns to you and she gives you, I mean, it's a perfectly friendly smile.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, you're cutting it kind of close, aren't you?
I apologize. I wasn't aware that the gates closed at night.
Oh, you're new around here.
Yes. Yes. The town was recommended by a friend, and I thought I'd come check it out.
Does your friend live in town? Do you have a place to stay, or are you needing some lodgings?
I would need lodgings.
Okay, well, the only game in town is going to be the Red Dragon Inn, but you can't miss it. It's smack in the center of town. It looks like a big honking red dragon. Hard to miss.
Interesting. Thank you very much. And I will try to keep any interaction super brief, and I will make my way in that direction.
One more deception check.
Sure. It's a 2.
So
Bum.
wah, wah.
What? Sorry, the Tiny was wanting to show me a very energetic dance move.
So you see, as you start to turn away, the Cadoran guard, their head kind of snaps around and looks directly at you. And you see him. Oh, that's you. And you see him look at the woman that you were just interacting with.
I have this like moment where I almost freeze in like near panic.
Yeah.
And just like, if there could be like the verbal / nonverbal equivalent to like whistling, like it's just, that's what I'm attempting at the moment of like, I'm new here, thank you, and like just trying to go. We're just trying to go.
He's like, hold on, you're not in any danger. I recognize that may sound suspicious, but I promise you, you're not. Part of the reason why I'm here is if any of our people come through these gates, we need to be able to know so that we can take measures to make sure that you're safe.
Yes, thank you. We humans should absolutely be safe and things. Nice to meet you. I'm gonna go and like continue my like do. I am pretending apparently very poorly that I have no idea what he's talking about.
You see him hesitate, like you're of course paying attention to what's going on behind you as much as you can, while still trying to fly casual.
Mm-hmm.
You see him hesitate for a second, but then he kind of jogs to catch up to you. Do you let him, or do you do something
I'm
else?
flying casual, so like I'm not gonna intentionally increase my pace. He's a town guard. I'm not gonna be seen running away from a town guard.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I will.
So he kind of catches up to you, and he doesn't touch you,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't like
That's
get
good.
in your way necessarily, but he kind of sidles up to you, and he's like, "Okay, look, I get it, right? Like it's bad. It's real bad out there. If you don't want to talk to me, you don't want to let these people know who you are, that's fine. But when you get to the town, when you get to the Red Dragon Inn, tell Saul who you are. And he'll take care of you. You have my word."
And what was your name?
Fuck, you're gonna make me come up with a name. Dunstan.
Thank you, Dunstan.
I gotta go close the gates. Good luck.
I have not broken stride. I'm just continuing to walk.
And he just kind of turns and walks back, like he doesn't. Yeah. Do you head straight for the Red Dragon Inn?
Well, I don't know what the fuck else I'm gonna do in this town. So sure, yeah.
All right. So you head straight to the Red Dragon Inn. The Red Dragon Inn, as promised, looks like a very large, slumbering red dragon. This would be roughly the size of possibly the largest red dragon that may have ever existed, but all the same. The eyes, which are designed to appear closed, but there's slight slits wherein you can see light coming through. The nostrils appear to be curling smoke. And you enter through a gaping maw. However, it does not appear to be like a real red dragon that has been turned into an inn. It does very much appear to be a wooden structure.
Okay. Yeah, I go in.
As you walk in, it is quite happening. There are tons of people inside, all of whom appear to be. Uh, I mean, you can sense the general tension in the air because what's going on in the world is fucked up. Um, but this is the most normal it's been in a tavern that you've been in since you were quite young. There's a bard playing. It's not like a lively tune or anything like that, but there's a bard kind of off on the stage, plucking a little song. It's catchy, but not like invasive. Uh,
Hmm.
there are a number of different individuals of varying different species and races moving about and drinking and eating, and you see several wait staff moving about. There does appear to be a bouncer at the bottom of the stairs. He's a broad-shouldered uh, half orc, maybe. Maybe not fully half orc, maybe just orc blood. But as you kind of walk in, you see him kind of glance up at you, and he gives you a grin. Uh, Big tusks, and you see as you walk in, hello, welcome to the Red Dragon Inn.
Hello. Thank you.
You can go ahead and sit down anywhere. They'll take care of you when you're when they get to you. We're kind of busy.
Certainly. And I will, again, like, I would know by this point, um, like, I find a very unobtrusive table, right? It's not the one in the corner in the dark, it's just, like, kind of off to the side, out of the way, smaller table where I'm not, you know, in the way of people. I'm not super, like, near the center of this tavern where people are going to be walking past me.
Pick a number on an eight-sider that is good.
Jesus. 7.
That is a 6. There are no available tables. However, there does appear to be room at the bar.
I pick a seat at the bar that is out of the way.
Okay. You pick the most out of the way seat that is available at the bar.
Yes.
And sure enough, even as you kind of move up to the bar, you see kind of near one end of the bar that appears to be kind of like under the stairs that go up to a second floor. Um, you
Excuse me.
see somebody vacates their seat, carrying their drinks with them to a table. So you were able to kind of snag that seat. It's a little bit further out of the way. But you see, as you are sitting there, not very long, like you're there maybe 2 minutes, when a slim, fairly attractive elven woman with straight black hair, um, uh, very dark eyes, very like kind of epitomizing the elven alien aesthetic, like very beautiful and sort of like an awesome is the original
Mm-hmm.
use of the word sort of way rather than like classically beautiful. But you see she kind of glides into the area behind the bar, looks over at you. Totally looks out of place in this bar. Like this is a regular
Mm-hmm.
tavern bar, whatever. And here's this like awesomely beautiful elven woman who appears to be the tender as she approaches you. And she kind of walks up and she goes, "Hello, you're new. Are you from? You're not from town, are you?
No.
You see, she gives you a little bit of the elevator eyes, but like more of an assessing sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be rather uncomfortable. Do you need something? Do you need help?
No, I'm just not used to large towns like this. Food, drink, room for the night?
We have all three of those things. Um, Let me. Do you have a particular preferences to drink?
Just ale.
Certainly. We have a local brew that is a favorite around here. And she kind of steps away. Um, she fills you up a drink. She grabs you a plate of food. It's whatever they had in the kitchen.
Yep.
And then she comes back with like a skeleton key,
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of puts all three in front of you. And
I just nod my thanks.
let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.
Thank you.
As she walks away, you realize she never asked for payment.
I put what I would assume or approximate would be the cost of the meal and the room, and just scoot it over to the edge of the bar.
Okay. You eat, you drink.
And a tip.
Fair enough. Food's good. Ale's good, if you like ale. What do you do?
I eat and drink and go to my room.
Okay. You go up to your room. It's up the stairs on the second floor. Appears to be a row of rooms kind of along what would be like the spinal column of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
They're not big, but they're comfortable. And they appear to be all like singles. They're not like group rooms.
Okay. I will do a few things before I kind of settle into my room for the night. I will check this hallway. Is there another exit?
So there's not really an enclosed hallway. It's more like a balcony that kind of overlooks the rest of the tavern.
Okay.
But there is just the one set of stairs that go up to this landing.
Okay. And then I will go into my room. I'll check the window. I'll lock the door, make sure the window is secured. And make my space as safe as I can.
This tavern actually has glass windows, which is kind of rare.
Mm-hmm.
And they do open and close, but there's no screens. Obviously, it's medieval
Right.
fantasy. So the windows open, the windows close. The shutters open, the shutters close. That's what you got.
Mm-hmm.
But the windows can be locked from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, clowns are gonna get me. You were able to kind of lock everything down and secure everything.
Okay. And I'll just kind of, set my gear out so that if I need to grab it in a hurry, I can. Just essentially like anything that I would do, knowing I'm in a town, I might have to run for it.
Sure.
And I just sit on the bed and, clean my gear, sharpen my swords, whatever I would usually do at night.
Sounds good. Do you eventually attempt to sleep?
Eventually.
Okay. Kindly make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh. Sure, I'm so good at that. Not if I drop my die. Threefold. It doesn't want me to make a wisdom saving throw. It's 14 plus 2, 16. That's not bad.
You awaken in the middle of the night. And, you're immediately on the defensive just because that's your nature.
Instantly on edge, reaching for my swords.
Right. But you recognize that nothing in particular woke you up. There wasn't a sudden noise, there wasn't a sudden change, there wasn't a subtle anything. Nothing in particular woke you up, and yet here you are awake.
Mm-hmm.
Everything downstairs appears to be quiet. You don't really have there's not a clock or anything on hand. You get the sense that it's the wee hours.
Mm-hmm.
But you feel a presence from the bar. Call it your, I guess, Cadoran instinct.
Is it one of my people?
Somebody's there. No, you don't think so. But you also don't feel threatened by this.
I mean, that's maybe not, but I will. I mean, like, I'm double fisting my swords. I will very, very cautiously head downstairs.
Okay, well, you creep out of your room and you can kind of see the balcony kind of overlooks the rest of the tavern proper. And as you look down, you see the back of a very large, dark-haired man um, sitting at a table. And even as like you're moving as silently as death, but even as you do, he kind of looks up at you.
I freeze.
You hear this kind of deep, sonorous voice, a young man's voice. I mean, you don't have to hide. You're safe here.
Sure I am. I take it you're Saul.
You take it correct. Why don't you come
I check around for anybody else who's potentially down there, like the elf or whoever.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go down.
Okay. He appears to be unarmed. He's wearing kind of a simple tunic. It's very clear that he's extremely well built.
Oh yeah, he doesn't need a weapon to kill me. He could snap my neck. It's fine.
But as you look at him, you like it's easy again. Like Khadorans are not. I mean, they're related to humans, but they're not fully human, right?
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes you have a hard time discerning the age of humans.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd guess he can't be more than 19.
Okay.
Like fairly young, which is weird for an elder.
Right.
Clean shaven, hair's kind of close cropped. You kind of see the growth of it. Like he may have had like a military cut at some point, but he's letting it grow out, so it's kind of weird and patchy in some place. Like it's all there. Like it's not like thin or anything like that, but it's like growing out in weird intervals, so it's not quite, fully,
Mm-hmm.
coiffed, as it were. But you see him just kind of looking at you, and he's like, I mean, you had a long go of it. Gestures to the seat.
I said,
Interesting. You have no reason to trust me, and I don't blame you at all for that, given everything that has happened to you. Or at least I assume has happened to you, and has definitely happened to your people. Um, but Saul's Rest is a safe place for you.
as soon as he mentions my people, given that I have barely said a word to him, I am on edge again.
Sure.
Wouldn't be the first time I'd been promised safety.
I don't doubt it. Consider. You're in my town. You're in my tavern. If I'd wanted to hurt you, you'd be hurt.
I don't doubt that. You seem a little young for the job, Elder.
My father um, died young. And as far
Insight
as
check.
go for it.
I'm already on edge with this guy. And if he's trying to tell me that this young guy inherited town elder because his dad died, that's a 19. I'm sure he beats it.
Don't fucking hate being this close to the 4th of July. He's telling the truth.
Okay.
The town has a tradition of always having a dragon friend. It's my last name. As an elder. Until I actually get a few years behind me, I'm sure the title is more honorary. But the inn belonged to my father. So I get to hold it down until I'm old enough. There's a lot of hinky shit going on out there.
Don't have to tell me that.
The last thing we need is to not trust each other. And I recognize that you're not going to just give that to me, and that's fine. But I hope you'll let me earn it.
We'll see.
Anyway, didn't mean to wake you up. If you're still tired, you can go ahead and go back to bed. I'm going to shut down here and probably do the same.
I just nod and head back up the stairs into my room.
The next few weeks you spend in Saul's Rest. Free of charge.
I always leave money.
That's fair. But they never asked for it. And, I mean, Phoenix knows who Saul is.
Yeah. Lyle doesn't.
Lyle doesn't. Is it safe to say that with time and dedication, Saul can earn Lyle's at least tacit trust?
It would be very tenuous, but if he is clearly making an effort without, like, being pushy about it, Lyle would...
I mean, he's
tenuous trust at
19.
best. Yeah.
So he's trying,
yeah.
but I think Lyle can tell that it's all with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
Like, he's not... The moment he realizes he is pushy, he immediately backs off and apologizes. Like, again, he's young and he's impetuous. Lyle is older than he is, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But he does command, despite this honorary title that apparently he's been given, he does command a great deal of respect. And despite the fact that you get the impression that a lot of the folk around here know exactly who and what you are, nobody cares. Nobody treats you any differently. And you realize that there is not a ton, but a handful of other Khadorans that live comfortably in the town.
That would be something that would be very difficult for Lyle to accept. And so, like, he spends time there. He, starts making these very, very tenuous connections, but is absolutely always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, this is too good to be true. It cannot possibly last. Something is going to go horribly awry. Because it always does.
You find work in and around Saul's Rest as much as you can. And there's work. There's always something to do, the odd job. But on the eve of the 3rd week of your stay, you've taken to running fundamentally barback for the elven bartender.
What's her name?
Her name is Kiara.
Kiara.
Kiara. And you get the impression that she and Saul are a thing, but they never really talk about it. And they're not like affectionate outward, but just the general vibe you get. Like either they're together or they ought to be.
Mm.
Um, on the eve of the third week of your stay, you're kind of running bar back for Kiara. And at one point, he sends you to the wine cellar to grab a few more cases of whatnot.
Mm.
And you go. And as you're down there, I would like you to make another wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh, okay. That's a 17 on the dice. So that's better. 19.
Okay. You're down there and you feel, as you're kind of grabbing the casks that she had indicated, you feel a sudden, presence kind of on the edges of your perception. And it's something that you felt as a child.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Cadoran people are very closely related to wolves.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, if we were to put it into like an evolutionary aspect, they are bipedal humanoids that evolved from wolves the way we bipedal humanoids evolved from apes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they have a very strong connection to wolves, and there is sort of like a theology that is it was kind of inherent to the entire race. Most of it has been kind of lost because this genocide of your species started happening when you were still very young and you were still learning a lot about it.
Yeah.
But when you were young, you felt this overwhelming sense of peace and safety whenever your grandmother would talk about the ancient winter wolf. Um, and as you're down there, you get that feeling again.
Hmm.
And the weird thing is it doesn't feel unnatural. Like it didn't just happen across it, but like you just get that feeling and almost like it's calling to you.
Hmm. Um, I definitely take note of it. Uh, huh. Does it seem to be emanating from any specific thing or
Yes, in point of
just
fact, there is a trap door on one side of the room from which it is emanating.
excellent? I will finish my shift, so to speak.
Okay.
And when things have quieted down and I know that like Saul usually goes to bed and all of that, I will go check out the trapdoor.
Okay. In the dead of night, after everyone is asleep, you creep down from your room, through the bar, through the kitchen, to the wine cellar. And there's a weird, eerie sense. Like that call is still there and it's still very strong, and you still feel okay. Like you're not worried per se, but you get that sort of inextricable existential feeling of you are walking a path that others have walked before you. That sort of ancestral inevitability. You get to the trapdoor, you open the trapdoor, and you descend. And you see Anissa. And I need to check the time because I have kids that need to go to bed soon.
I have to turn my light back on. I was camped out over here.
No, it's all good. These intros are going to take a moment. Fortunately, you are the last intro that we need to do. So,
okay, hold on. Let me. Okay, I look less dead. That's good now.
the last thing you recall was the world that had ended. It just didn't know it yet. The last thing you recall is bringing that world to its inevitable close. Now, witnessing the end of a world is a singly unique experience. Everything just sort of, one by one, ceases to be. Like standing in a warehouse with somebody that isn't you, turning off banks of lights, one after the other, until there's nothing. And that darkness surrounds you, cradles you, and gives you peace of a sort. You were never one who ascribed to particular deity. You didn't pay lip service to a particular god. You didn't worship a particular god. You followed the teachings of your mentor. And you followed them until your very, very end. And as the teachings of your mentor were that life was sacred, when life ends, it's all part of a bigger picture. And you served your purpose. You did what you came to do. And there's peace in that. And then you wake up. You don't remember everything. In fact, there's large swaths of things that you don't remember. You remember the face of both of your sisters, but you can't recall their names. The word hope resonates in your brain as more than just an amorphous concept to give something for people to believe in. Why? You don't know. You know your name. Although if you had a last name, it's long gone. And you know what you were taught to believe in. Whether or not you continue down that path is up to you, but you find yourself lying on a slab. A bier, B-I-E-R, made of stone. Describe yourself.
Well, she's a taller human female, muscular, for visual, kind of do that. Ta-da! Blonde hair bound securely. Warrior build. Scars she may have are covered with armor and leather and clothing. Yeah.
Okay. You glance up and around. And you are weirdly, like you're on what would be a funerary slab, like where you would lay somebody out in state, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, the surroundings outside of that don't look like a tomb. In fact, as you're looking around, you appear to be in what looks like a well-appointed study. There are books lining all of the walls. There's a desk with a large chair that is currently empty, behind which there's a large marble and possibly tile and marble fireplace in which there is a fire. The room is comfortable, if a little cold,
Despite the fire.
despite the fire. Well, it's a larger room, and it doesn't look like there may be a lot in the way of things to trap in the heat, so to speak. You also just get a vague impression that you may be subterranean. Just kind of a sense that you have. And as you are kind of picking yourself up, and you see you're kind of at the base of the your pack with all of your various equipment and stuff. You were in your armor. And your sword is at your side. As you are sitting there, the door opens, and you see. And we're going to break. So, I'm going to put us on a quick break. Let's shoot for about 15 minutes.
Why you gotta be like that to us?
What's that?
Why you gotta be like that to us?
I'm a dick.
Rude.
I also have to put my kids, or at least one of the kids, to bed. So, I'm going to go get that going. I'll be back. Let's go 10 minutes. I think we can do 10 minutes.
Yes.
So for the rest of the world, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Enjoy some delightful music that I have found and is free for me to use. So we'll be back shortly. righty. We are back. We have freshly urinated and refreshed our beverages.
That's not the way I would say that, but sure.
I mean,
They were two completely separate actions.
Yes.
They were indeed.
That is a very important qualifier on that.
Even in
even
separate rooms.
Yes, even.
Yes.
All right. Anissa.
Yeah.
The door opens, and out of the door, into the room, step 5 other individuals and a pseudo-dragon. Now it's interesting, because they all step in almost simultaneously. The one exception being the human man in the full plate, followed by a metallic man? Oh, you're from Eberron. A Warforged? They walk in as you would expect people would walk in, like file in single file. But almost everybody else steps into the room at the same time and then sort of stops occupying the same space. I need everybody to make, except for Anissa, I need everybody to make a wisdom saving throw. So, Chapel, what'd you get?
Nat 1.
Tracks. Melisandus, what did you get?
Total of 20.
Nice. Lyle.
15.
And Hale.
Samesies, 15.
Okay. So for Chapel, Lyle, and Hale, there's a sort of weird kind of like I'm trying to figure out a good analogy for this. There's a brief moment where you feel like, have you ever taken one of those like tubes filled with liquid that kind of like rolls in on itself, like it's a kind of almost like a donut, but when you do one of these, like it kind of rolls in and out of your hand, and then taking your finger and kind of stuck your finger into the thing? It's that, but all over.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's probably.
I will try to find a picture.
It's just as confusing as the description is, and I think that it elicits the same.
Which is exactly the point. There's a momentary sensation of almost like stepping into, through, and having all around you this sort of cold, clammy, gelatinous feeling as things seem to warp around you, and then you are standing next to a group of individuals that none of you have ever seen before, with the exception of Hale and Chapel.
My scimitars would have already been out before I went down that staircase, so I am like... hackles are up, and I am like...
Melisandus,
not okay right now.
With your 20, you don't know exactly what happened, but some sort of temporal event occurred.
The Warforged does have a crossbow more or less at ready, although the tip of it drops down a little bit just with the confusion of what the fuck?
Right. So, Anissa, you see these 5 individuals plus a very confused looking pseudo-dragon sitting on the shoulder of the elven gentleman.
4 of us?
4 of you individuals.
Okay.
Counted.
I was wondering.
There's 5 of you total. 4 additional other than Anissa. I'm with you now. I can math, I promise. There's a reason I write for a living. But yeah, so you see these individuals, the very confused pseudo-dragon is kind of on the shoulder of the elven mage looking individual. And they're all looking very... I mean, I imagine the elf man is looking a little less confused than the rest, but everybody else looks very disoriented and confused.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate.
I sit up completely.
Okay.
And, like, I swing my legs. I'm not going to necessarily go to standing, but swing my legs over the edge.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if how do I feel? Do I feel like if I stood up, I'd be fine? Or do I feel like, oh, maybe I tip over?
So as you kind of swing your legs over the beer, you feel, well, you feel for the first time, and you're not sure how long, and you feel okay. Like just kind of status quo. Like everything is more or less intact. Your memory is a little faulty, but everything else seems to be like your arms and limbs are moving okay. You feel like if you stood up, you'd have strength to stand. You do see one of the individuals that just stepped in the room. I mean, all of them are armed in one way or the other. One has a crossbow out at the ready, but kind of tipped down. The other one has scimitars like at the ready, kind of. I don't. Are you actively menacing the other people in the room, or are you just kind of
I'm
like defending
I'm
yourself?
not menacing, but it is definitely a defensive posture, and I am like vibrating with readiness. Like, just look the wrong way in my direction.
So one of them looks like a good stiff wind would set them off. Um, the others, and I mean, you're recognizing you've seen enough of this kind of stuff. You're recognizing that this is how they're reacting to the sudden change or confusion or whatever the fuck is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hale would put a hand on like on near the crossbow in a staying motion for whatever, and like put another like reassuring hand out towards the one with the scimitars.
And yeah, you see the woman on the beer, kind of like very casually, like hands showing
Don't go
hands.
for my weapons. I just.
The Warforged will take the apparently unloaded crossbow and just kind of will kind of pull it up so it's not aiming at anybody. Just kind of rested on their shoulder, and then make a basic motion of just like okay.
Yeah, the scimitars stay up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, just a quick question, Adam, because I realized just literally now that I did not have any languages on my sheet.
Sure.
Do the Cadorans have a separate language?
Their language would be Sylvan.
Okay.
I would say since the genocide started happening when you were quite young and still kind of learning,
Mm-hmm.
like you probably understand it better than you speak it.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
So, first off, do you understand me?
What are you
Do you
speaking?
understand the
Common. I'm just speaking common because it's
Yes.
like the easiest, like, blanket.
She speaks with a slight accent, but it is clearly common.
Yes.
Okay, one,
Lyle just nods.
I
two.
comprehend.
Okay, and you?
I am proficient in the common tongue.
Okay, so we can all understand each other. That is actually pretty wonderful place to start, honestly.
Great start.
I'm Anissa. I don't know why I'm here. Anybody else in that situation?
If we turn around, do we see the same door frame that we came down?
I assume you do so.
Yeah.
So you turn, and you see there is a door frame there, and there is a door, and it does appear to be shut. None of you shut the door, but it does appear to be shut.
I'm looking for an artifact to rid the Scourge of Undead from my lands. Does anyone know anything about that? This is very odd, and I have no idea, nothing else to go from, but...
Does that ring any bells?
I know nothing of any undead scourge, nor of any lands currently suffering from one.
I will give you this, Melisandre, since you did make your roll to recognize there was a temporal event. Go ahead and make a history check.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, wait, never mind. You can't. You recognize, because you were first.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering about that.
You recognize that because there was a temporal event, there's a good chance that these people either are all from a different potential timeline than yours. They may all be from the same one. They may all be all from different ones. You don't know, but you suspect that that's likely what's happening here.
Gotcha. Well, I cannot be certain as to the rest of you, but I believe that I was brought here by some form of temporal event. Tell me, is Undead Scourge, in what year is that taking place?
Hale says the year. David doesn't remember off the top of his head.
I don't remember off the top of mine. I should maybe pull up my notes on that. Because I have full notes on it. It's just tucked away.
And also, I think that it lasted like thousands of years. So, at like, what point was in that thousands of years? I don't even know.
Well, or even using the modern dating system, was that a thing that far back?
Right.
So many, parts to this.
Finding my notes. Definitely.
It is the 265th year of the Tenemanic Age.
Okay. So he says a date, Melisandre, and he does use a year structure that you're familiar with. But the date he says is roughly 2,500 years after the time frame you were in.
I see. It seems that whatever crisis you are attempting to avert has not yet happened for me.
7,500 years after the time frame you were in. I apologize. I did that math wrong.
That makes more sense.
Okay. I do not believe that from my frame of reference your undead apocalypse has yet happened. The rest of you, might I ask what year you are from?
I would answer, but oh wait, no, I'd answer differently. Never mind.
I guess my question for you, Anissa, is which year from which world? Eberron, Barovia, or Saul's Rest would you respond?
I don't believe
actually, no.
my
Anissa,
date would...
make a history check. Well, because you were the latest one.
Yeah, because I'm 18.
Okay. 18's pretty good. You were in Saul's Rest long enough to kind of learn a little bit about the history and everything like that. You vaguely recognize the kind of time and year structure that they're referencing. All of the events from your perspective happened roughly... Oh, I gotta do some quick math here. Oh no, I know this math. 17,000 years ago?
Okay. So, who was 17,000 years ago? The plague?
The Scourge of Undead was roughly 17,000
years ago.
Yeah, so...
From when I was living in Saul's Rest?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, um, I'm not entirely sure the best place to lay this out. I do believe the year is an important thing to factor, and it sounds like you are using a familiar um, calendar. But I am also going to double check that we're all from the same place. Does Saul's Rest or Gravendale ring a bell to everybody?
Yes.
Everybody recognizes Gravendale. Melisandus, you did not know the name of the town that you were in. Everybody else would know the name Saul's Rest.
Okay. I am familiar with Gravendale, but I have not heard of this Saul's Rest.
All right. Well, in that case, the year I will give you is around, did you say 17,000, Ed?
I sure did.
Your plight of undead occurred approximately 17,000 years ago.
Kind of see Hale's head like spin. And then he kind of shakes it off and says, well, it means that somebody makes it through. That's good.
That's honestly my logic in that area.
Fascinating.
Where do you come from? I'm looking at the Warforged. And how do you know of
The same
Gravendale?
as-
You're obviously of Eberron.
The same as Sir Hale.
You've she says Eberron. You've never heard of an Eberron. You don't know what that is.
Perhaps the Eberron is the Great Maker?
No. Oh. Huh.
We never knew their name.
Eberron isn't a person, it's a place.
Ah,
And
I'm not familiar with this place.
interesting. Assuming
And
we
I'll-
figure out where we are now, I will tell you a story.
As we're talking, since the threat level has seemed to calm down as we're all kind of in the same spot, I'll put my crossbow away.
Okay, Lyle, where are you at?
What do you mean?
Mentally,
level.
what's going on behind those eyes? What's happening? You're last we knew, you had your scimitars at the ready. You're hearing all this discussion about weird timey wimey bullshit. Where are you at?
Would any of this sound familiar at all?
Make a history check.
It's gonna go great for me. Flat roll, baby. Oh, it's an 18 though.
Yes, in fact, you were raised on tales of the various epics, knowing full well that you are in the fifth, which at this point does not have a name, or from your perspective doesn't have a name. But you do recognize the plague of undead. Was the second epic, the second great epic of the history of the world. You knew it was. You didn't know how fucking long ago it was, but you knew it was quite some time ago.
Yeah. Can
What
I
what
glean
Anise
from?
Anise is talking about, like, you have no idea, but
Yeah. Can I glean that Melisandus would be from prior to the second epic?
based on the evidence, yes, you would say
Okay.
he was probably from prior to that.
Okay. And Anissa is from either after me or from fucking somewhere else or something
Yes.
weird. Cool.
Weird.
Probably yes on both counts.
Probably. we're still on edge. I am just this is weird and uncomfortable, and the time mage over there could probably like sneeze at me and erase me from history, and we don't like this at all.
Well, I mean, you don't really know that I'm a mage of some kind.
You are in robes, sir. I'm making an assumption.
You have
be clear.
magey
You
robes.
definitely don't know that he's a time mage.
Okay.
You probably
Magey
can assume that
person.
he's an arcanist of some sort. I would accept that, but you don't know he's a time mage.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, like it just. Yeah, I like it. Lyle's default is just to be on edge because of everything, and so that's going to continue.
And that is perfectly okay. I just wanted to see where you were at and all that.
That is their default state.
What is everybody's passive perception? Starting with Chapel.
11.
Okay, Anissa.
11.
Melisandus.
14.
And Lyle.
Also 4. Oh, sorry.
15 for Lyle.
And then Hale, you're also 14.
Also 14. Yep. Sorry.
Can I ask just a quick question before we resolve the passive perception?
Absolutely.
Since the talk began about different timelines or whatever, I just want to try and see if I can sort of visually verify, at least from like the size and shape, if this looked like the same room that we had entered, or if we're like effectively somewhere else entirely.
When you went down the into the trap door, you did have a vague impression of like you have a memory of seeing this study.
Okay.
But now that you're kind of like poking at it a little bit, you're wondering if that actually holds water.
Fair enough. Okay.
And one thing I will say, you don't remember seeing a great big, like, funerary slab in the middle of this thing.
And that's why maybe Chapel's trying to do the math of the geometry of it.
There's definitely some things not adding up.
Because Chapel's like an architect, so he's doing the math. But anyway, okay, that's all.
That's fair. You see the pseudo dragon sitting on the shoulder of the arcanist of whatever stripe. At one point, kind of cocks his head to the side. And Lyle, as you even observe that, because you're like hyper aware of everything that's going around right now, as the pseudo dragon does that, you kind of glance at it, and you also kind of like almost instinctively, because again, it's just like pseudo dragons are smarter than your average animal, but they're still kind of animalistic to some degree. Like they kind of run the gamut between animal and sentient creature. So just kind of instinctively, you cock your head and you hear very softly, oh, that's very interesting. I'm very curious where this is going to go. So they seem to be very capable of critical thinking, but the one with the sword seems really on edge. I wonder if that's a function of her time, or of their time and place. And it's just this low, kind of fastidious sounding voice, just kind of narrating what's happening.
What is that?
What is what?
I use one of the scimitars to like point at the pseudo dragon.
You see the pseudo dragon kind of, what? That's not me. I hear it too, though. Yeah, fully talks. Everybody else can make a perception check.
I love that. Perception checks are good.
Yeah. Ooh, that one in particular was not great, though. 11.
Oh, mine was worse. Did you see that?
So Chapel?
Chapel got a 9.
Good lord. Anissa?
8.
Melisandus?
11. I'll beat a 10 at
Okay.
least.
And Hale.
16.
Hale, you hear it.
That's good. Somebody
You
else.
hear it.
Oh, was I not having to roll for that?
No, you already heard it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I should have said excluding you because you
I'm
already
like,
could hear it. No,
the
I wasn't,
hell? I
I wasn't
rolled an
skipping you to
18,
be a
thank
dick.
you.
No, you just didn't need you already heard it, so you didn't need to.
Okay. I thought I was going to get to tell where it was coming from.
Well, sure. What did you roll?
I rolled an 18.
Okay. What's interesting, and it's more of a function. You aren't able to place where it's coming from, but it's not that. Like, you recognize that you should be able to pinpoint where it's coming from.
Oh, I don't like it.
Now, is it still a running commentary even after?
Yes, actually, even as you're hearing it, they appear to have heard the sound of my voice. I should probably stop talking, but for whatever reason, I'm doing a running commentary anyway. I should probably shut up. Oh shit, they hear me now. All right, okay. Hello. Yes. Hi. I apologize for bringing you here. There's still nobody here,
Do we all hear now?
but you all hear it as they start speaking full voice.
Are you invisible? I know invisibility is something people can do.
Well, I
We
mean,
would love-
suppose technically I am invisible to you, but that is largely to do with the fact that I'm not actually in
Ooh.
the room at the moment.
Who and what are you and where are you?
I am nearby. I am observing you from afar using magic. I am the Magister. Pleasure to meet you.
Magister?
Yes. It's ancient Draconic for teacher, I suppose you could say.
Are you a dragon?
That is an interesting question. No, although it would be very interesting to be a dragon. I may have to try that at some point. At any rate, no, I am not a dragon. I apologize for the rather rude assemblage of you all. However, I need your assistance with something. But first, I need to know that if you are the right people.
What does that even... Okay, sir. What people are you looking for to deal with what?
Well, that, unfortunately, due to the nature of what we're dealing with, I can't go into great amounts of detail about that, but rest assured it does have to do with the fate of existence in and of itself. So, if you are at all interested in saving everything, he's not gesturing because you can't see him, but I am because I want to. If you are at all interested in saving everything that ever existed, will exist, has existed, and will ever exist again, then perhaps you would be interested in performing a few simple tests.
Yes.
Qualifiers are you using to judge us of our worthiness?
Whether or not you really suck at what's about to happen.
Hale draws
that-
his swords.
Chapel will grab his crossbow and bring it back out to get it ready.
Terribly sorry. No, you're not in imminent danger right this moment. I'm not going to send the whole hounds after you or anything like that. There's things that I would like you to accomplish to see if you are, in fact, capable of accomplishing them. And if you're not, then I'll send you on your merry way.
What exactly do you mean saving all of everything?
Yes, again, that kind of falls into the category of I can't really go into a lot of detail because if I do, I might actually fuck things up worse. So rather than allowing that to happen, I need to know if you are, in fact, the people that I need to do this. And if you are, then I can tell you. And if you're not, then I send you on your merry way.
Why should I care about saving all of existence?
Because you are not the only thing in existence, and things, while fairly bleak where you're from currently at this point, they will not remain so forever. And you may have a hand in changing that.
It's not going to bring back my people.
No, unfortunately it will not. And for that I am truly sorry. It's one of those things that if I could fix, I would.
Sure, I'm sure. Like I said, I don't see the point of saving it. And there's definitely an edge to their words.
You see, I understand where you're coming from, but
I doubt it.
I do, more than you could possibly know, but I don't expect that you will understand it. What I will say is, if you were truly wanting to see it all end, you would have taken the way out that many of your kind did. But you survived. And you survived for a reason. And it's entirely possible that this is that reason.
I think I should clarify. I wish to find clarification. Sorry, I should
I will give you
phrase
whatever
that better.
clarification I am able to give.
You offer that if we do not rise to your expectations, that we will be sent upon our merry way.
Indeed.
This individual, she gestures to Lyle, seems to indicate to me that where they would be returning to is not necessarily a merry way.
Yes.
Hail, I'm not done.
Sorry, I will stop talking.
Thank you. Hail, David, did your character say Hail? I can't remember if you said your name.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Hail is talking of an undead scourge. And this gentleman came with him, so it indicates to me that their location is maybe not the most merry way. Now, I cannot speak for our other new companion, but I also say where I just was is no more, and I don't think there's a merry way. So could you please clarify what you mean by sending us on our merry way if we don't meet your expectations?
Well, I do believe that it would be to return to the time and place where you left.
With memory of this adventure.
I honestly don't know how that's going to work. Probably.
Well, when all is said and done, Hale will turn to Lyle.
Lyle, yeah.
Having not known their name, and say,
Yeah.
if you would like to come to a place where there's terrible things happening, but very important work to do, happy to have you. And if you don't have a place, he turns to Anissa and says, there are plenty of undead to kill.
Would I know
It-
if
It would be my skill set.
I love
Were
that
my
he's giving
people
a
a-
recruitment speech.
were my people around during the Scourge of the Undead? That's
And thriving. I mean, up until the
actually
undead
rather attractive. Lyle seems to. Their face changes to one that is far more thoughtful.
Hale is making friends.
So, for context, the genocide of the Cadoran people happened as a direct result of the onset of Godfall.
Yeah, in this age, in my
the
age,
that you're
yeah.
from, yes.
I'm just from later in the age and less
That being
further down the genocide chain.
As that's being negotiated, I will lean into Anissa slightly and goes, and just as a point of clarification, I am neither a man or considered gentle in terms of your fleshy bits, considering, and he goes kink, kink, kink onto the mithril.
You seemed to present male, and I'm sorry to have assumed so.
When that's all said and done, Hale said, that all being said, the existence of everything, knowing that we already make it through the Scourge, which I will not take for granted because we do need to work towards it, I'm in.
This scourge didn't just poof go away, so that the working part is a good plan.
Very important.
Yeah.
Oh, disembodied Magister's voice.
Yes.
One question is a point of clarification.
Indeed. What can I help you with?
When you said the destruction of all existence, does that mean from this point forward?
From all
Or
points ever.
Seems
thank you
challenging.
for that clarification. I am in.
One more clarification. Of Gravendale or of other planes as well?
Oh, I hadn't considered the possibility that it would affect other planes, but I suppose the destruction of one world in the multiverse might have a domino effect and ultimately destroy the rest of the multiverse. Yes, it's entirely possible that all of existence will simply wink out.
How is that even possible?
It's very complicated. I can show you the math, but we'd have to do the things first.
This seems more like a god level thing.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, the gods are unable to intervene.
I take it from the fact that you were the one who brought us all here from various points in time, that the nature of this catastrophe is temporal in nature?
Indeed, you are very astute. I knew I liked you.
I have another question.
Of course.
Why exactly is it you call yourself the Magister? What is it that brought you to choose that name?
Well, mostly because I forgot what my name actually was. You live long enough, that tends to happen. And two, it fits.
Hmm.
I have another question, as long as I'm not interrupting anyone else's thought.
By all means.
Why did they appear there? And she gestures the there and then the floof. And I appeared here.
Yes, I believe because you were in a null space.
Clarify?
Well, that's the tricky thing. You were present at the end of an entire world, an entire existence. Again, not the existence of everything ever, but just a specific one small. Anyway, the point is that you witnessed the end of a thing, but you neither, you didn't really die, but you weren't really alive because everything ended. So you were kind of in what's a good term? Purgatory of sorts.
Okay.
For me, one last question.
Of course.
The time that I have been plucked from, I am damaged. Do we have time to prepare for this event?
I think you will find that you are quite healed. And in fact, you are.
Fully rested, feeling groovy.
Go ahead and give yourselves the benefits of a long rest if you have need of doing so. Also, and that in that moment, Chapel, you realize that Vigil is at your side.
Okay.
Also,
I was wondering about
I would really
Vigil. I'm like, Vigil didn't walk through the thingy.
I'm not
Well-
going to deny a character a major facet of their character class. That's just rude.
Admittedly, I could rebuild Vigil by taking a long rest to build it again. But
So much easier for him to poof into existence.
then I believe I am ready. I have no further questions.
You said that the gods are unable to intervene. I'd like to understand why that is, since currently it seems like, well, currently for me, I suppose, it seems like that's all the gods do is intervene.
Yes.
All of the time.
Yes, I can see where you get that impression. The gods, regardless of their mischief, to put it very lightly, in your time frame, they do have their limitations. Let's just say the gods could intervene in all of this, but they should not intervene. in all of this. The less they know about everything that's happening right now, the better off existence will be.
That does not make any sense.
Again, I will have to explain fully afterward.
Any hints of what this challenge for us is?
I'm not
To
exactly sure.
write the greatest sonnet, slay the dragon, clean the water,
I mean, if
make
you
a
want
gourmet
a
meal.
sonnet, I wouldn't argue. If you do find a dragon in here, I rather think you shouldn't fight it. And if you wanted to clean the water, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing, but also you probably don't need to. It's relatively clean. No, I actually don't know the exact nature of the test. It will be kind of stylized to your own various wide and sundry skill sets. The Arcastorim will take care of most of the plotting in that regard. I'm just an observer.
I'm sorry,
of this particular
the what?
The Arcastorim.
Which is what?
What you are currently in.
Which is what?
A time and place that is outside of your time and place. Technically speaking, a time and place that is outside of all time and places. Times and places. Yes, that's correct.
Hale turns to Jopple and says, I am learning so much.
I don't like any of this.
Fascinating.
I agree, Zephyr.
Baby, I'm trying to hold an angry face. I can't be angry with a baby.
I had the baby.
You.
I
Just
had the
cheating.
baby. Well, I'm sorry. Wife came down with baby. Wanted to hold baby.
Is Zephyr the baby's code name?
Yes.
Zephyr's baby's code name.
I love it so much. Okay. I love you, Zephyr. I'm gonna be angry again. It's fine.
Okay, big angry.
Don't
I'll
like
hide
it.
baby.
Alright, so you're being grumpy at the Magister.
Yes, I'm being grumpy at everyone. It's fine. I don't like any of it. Generally grumpy.
Well, it seems that
I
each
never
of you...
played a grumpy character. Sorry,
I
go
know,
on.
it's fun though. I like it.
It's weird. It's uncomfortable for me.
It's, honestly, Phoenix, it's kind of my sweet spot. So, anyway, you hear the little pseudo-dragon. I guess it's just the scimitar person. I mean, I'm in, but scimitar person.
I will stipulate that I will take this test of yours, but by the time that this is all done, once we meet your standards and you explain more of what is going on, if I am not convinced that you truly exemplify this title you have claimed for your own, I will ask to be sent upon my merry way.
Interesting. Yes, of course. I am happy to comply.
Sword person.
If I am allowed to return with this gentleman,
Hale.
Hale,
Pleasure.
after this test, certainly, I'll play your game.
Interesting. I hadn't considered the possibility that that would be... Well, I suppose it makes sense given... Yes, I feel that that can be arranged.
I have one last question.
Of
You have
course.
a lot of questions.
He reaches into his backpack, pulls out the 2 bottles, and says, Dwarven or Elvish?
Ah, yes. I think Elvish, but perhaps after we celebrate your victory.
That's what the other one is for.
Well, that is entirely up to you. I'm not in the room and therefore cannot drink.
I was talking to everyone else, truth be told.
Terribly sorry. I will stay out of this. Continue. Carry on.
Dwarven
I-
or Elvish?
I'm not a drunken warrior, so do not believe I should imbibe before whatever mysterious challenge may be at its hand. But please save me a glass.
Elvish.
He produces cups that he keeps in his bag
Love
and
it.
pours one for the currently unnamed warrior. Looks to Melisandre, who I don't actually Melisandre, excuse me, I don't think actually has said his name.
He is not.
And kind of cocks his head as if he's gonna. Do you want one?
I suppose it would be interesting to see what an elvish event is like in the future.
Pours him one, and then pours one for Chapel. Just try it, you'll love it.
See the pseudo dragon. Hey.
Oh
And
no!
Chapel, and actually, when you go, hey, Chapel, then we'll look at the glass and then hold it over. Still hold it, but hold it for in front of the pseudo dragon.
Pseudo dragon just whole head right into it, and you hear aggressive slurping sounds.
Hale will pour himself one, take a drink. 2 newfound fellowships.
I'm rolling a con save for the pseudo dragon.
It would be with my left hand, because my
We're
right
all
hand
just-
still has a sword in it.
Truth be told, I'm pouring like a 3-ounce pour of wine, which is like a half pour. So
That's
hopefully
fair,
not enough.
but also it is a dragon the size of a cat.
Yeah.
The alcohol tolerance level is quite reduced.
Yes, indeed. So
Based
yes, you
on
see the
body
the pseudo
index.
dragon kind of like finishes Chapel's drink, pulls its little head out, and is just kind of, oh.
Well, like, as he's going to town on this glass of wine, I would probably kind of trying to halfway be like respectful, but also like, you should not be doing this, but like, might I suggest not indulging too much as we are about to undertake an examination?
Pulls his little head out of the glass and kind of gives you a like full side eye, just like, are you telling me my business?
I would not dream of telling you what to do, of course.
Damn straight. Goes right back in.
I like the dragon, and it is the only thing I've liked up to this point.
Yeah, so he pulls his head out afterward. He's like, whoa, that was good stuff. You have more of that, right?
Haley just asked if I'm getting a dragon drunk. The answer is yes. And the answer is also yes.
Okay. Later, but okay.
I will
I
hand
would
kind
the,
of
love
like-
to try that later.
I'll hand the empty
Sort of like
glass back to Hale.
lists on your shoulder a little bit, but like catches himself. I'm good. Everything's fine.
Well, shall we go undertake a trial?
Perhaps introductions? I feel that we
Sorry,
don't
I
necessarily know
am
each
the
other.
eminent dragon. Can I pronounce this name? Tupuniarth.
To Puniarth?
You can call me Tappy.
I appreciate that.
Sorry,
Pleasure, your
Tap-
eminence.
Tappy?
Tappy. Tuppy. Tappy.
Tappy.
Tuppy.
Hello, Hale. It's a pleasure, I'm sure, to meet all of you.
I have a question about that. You carried yourself as a knight, that's why I assumed there was a sir involved. Is that not the case?
For me,
Yes.
I owe no loyalty to no king. I have only loyalty to the living, from where I am from. I serve no lord. I serve only those who draw breath.
Anissa. Those words sound real familiar.
Then our goals align. As I said, my name is Anissa. And seems like quite an interesting spot we have all ended up in.
Indeed. I suppose I shall go next. I am Melisandus Anarlith Phylaxian Aleador.
Pleasure.
I'm sure.
Would you prefer we state your whole name when referring to you, or is there something shorter we may go by, especially if something needs to be conveyed to you quickly?
I suppose that such extreme times may call for a preclusion of the normal honorifics. You may simply refer to me as Melisandus.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Don't call him Melly. He hates it.
Was that the pseudo dragon?
100% the pseudo dragon, who is
If it requires,
quite drunk.
if it requires a very quick call, will Mal suffice? In the most extreme circumstances only, of course.
He kind of says it through gritted teeth, but if you absolutely must.
Only when I absolutely must.
Lyle is giving Melisandus some intense side-eye. Intense side-eye.
Melisandus, for his part, kind of seems to notice that you're giving him the intense side eye and is ignoring it completely.
He would, yeah. I get that feel. Lyle, having drained their cup and handed it back to Hale and retrieved the second scimitar, continues with the intense side eye at Melisandus, but sort of just sweeps the gaze across the rest of the group and just kind of like with a half a grunt, Lyle. That's all they say.
To clarify, that was your name, correct?
Nods.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself to us, Lyle. I sense that the predicament you were in before you arrived catches you quite on edge. And I'm sorry that that's where you have been.
Like the metal gentle person over here. I am neither man nor woman myself.
Thank you for clarifying.
My designation is chapel. Then I point towards the iron dog looking creature and goes, this one's designation is vigil.
It is good to meet you both.
It opens the iron dog kind of opens its steel jaws, and in a series of what sounds like metal scraping on metal, and bolts kind of grinding against each other, you hear a sound that, a series of sounds that, when put together, is the word vigil.
Oh.
It's quite disconcerting.
So we're going to stick with, huh?
I believe now
Right.
that we know people's designations, we should begin.
If you are in fact prepared, then if you simply turn around and exit through the door that you all came through, the first test awaits.
I think Hale, having signed on first to this thing, would immediately turn and just walk right through.
Okay. You open the door and you sit through.
Melisandus would pull out his spell book, kind of have it open and at the ready, and then he would step through.
Okay. Melisandus goes through. Tap you on his shoulder.
Yep.
Anissa goes through.
Kitty.
All of a sudden, this little cat head just. Oh.
So look up. It's better if you'd look up.
That was pretty great. I needed that.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Chapel will look over at Lyle and nod, and then proceed to walk through.
Lyle will go through after Chapel and Vigil.
Okay. So my question is this: we're going to wrap up around 11. It's 10:30 our time. Those of you watching, this is just a temperature check. This is not going to line up with your time frames. The first test might take a little longer, but I think we can get through it in half an hour. Are you guys good with that?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Okay. Let me
Hi,
switch some
baby.
things over real quick.
Hi, sweet girl.
You have your kitty.
I do. She was winding around my legs again.
All right. So we're going to pop open that, and then we're going to jump over to this, and then we're going to jump over to this. I have so many tabs open, y'all. Take that faster. There we go. And oh snap! Oh crap! I thought I had done. Hang on a second. If you guys refer to your roll 20, Anissa, I thought I had done a thing for you, but apparently I didn't do a thing for you. So give me a second.
Pardon me. My cat's walking away with my yarn. Hey, not yours.
It's me, Mom.
It was really cute because he grabbed it and he had his teeth and he started walking away. I'm like, no,
It's my mail.
my project. Okay, I'm in D20. What were you doing for me?
I forgot to do something with your mini, so give me a second here.
Oh, okay. Cat.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll save changes. And then... Sorry, some quick character triage on the fly. It's all good. And then we'll drop Anissa on them. There you are. And then... can you all see your minis? Your tokens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I only see mine.
Yes. Agreed. Okay.
Well, that's largely because you don't have dark vision.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
I thought I took that thingy that gives me. I have blind
I'm waving
sight.
at Haley.
She's
wave
blurred
too.
right now, but
Hi,
hello.
sorry.
She is now, but I saw her a second ago.
I could.
What was going on the screen?
I have blind sight with a 10-foot range. Just saying.
Interesting. All right. Give me a second.
Blind
I got
sight, man.
nothing.
I'm like, wait, I took a thing.
Dear God, I hope I have some torches.
By the way, I accidentally moved my character,
That's okay.
so I don't
For
know if
what
they're
it's
in the
worth-
right spot.
Vigil does have dark vision of 60.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
look.
that's the thing for Warforged.
I do not as a Warforged, but
Oh, Vigil does. Vigil. Sorry. Wrong creature.
Vigil
I-
does though, yeah.
I know where one other person is. Yay.
I'm quickly adjusting Vigil.
Haley just has an arm floating in space, and occasionally a face. Oh, look, there's a face. Oh, she's gone. She's gone.
All right,
funny.
Brian, Vigil should
Lord
have dark
save
vision.
you.
You should have control of vision. Vigil.
Yep.
So you should be able to see now.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna take y'all and move y'all. Give me a moment. Actually, real quick. Well, not everybody can see, so we'll. Just give me who would go first. Hale, you said you kind of were going.
Hale went first.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would continue that pattern since he.
I have the order if you need me to read it back off to you.
That would be helpful.
It went Hale, Melisandus, Anissa, Chapel, and Lyle.
And Tuppy was simultaneous with Melisandus.
Yeah, Tuppy
Yes.
was with Melisandus, and Vigil was simultaneous with Chapel.
Oh, are there liggets now?
There appear to
There
be some
are.
liggets.
All right, my computer's being real slow, you guys.
Is there a way to make the little icons of people smaller?
Yeah.
You can't, yes.
You can make the map smaller by the plus and minus signs on the upper right corner.
Or do you mean the...
No, I mean
Okay,
the
yeah.
us down at the bottom.
So if you have your chat thing open, if you go to settings, go to audio and video,
Okay.
click on video display,
Okay.
and then you can change the player video /
Ah.
avatar size. I have it to name only, like, all of the time.
Same.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Because
Okay,
they
so
were like cluttering up the place.
Yeah, they're huge.
for the interests of this section of it, I'm not going to have Tuppy and Vigil on the map unless combat breaks out. They're still up above, so they're still accessible.
I'm mostly assuming that Tuppy is just kind of stay on my person
He's
for
on
the most
you.
part.
Yes.
Because as long as he's within 10 feet, I also get his magic resistance trait.
And I have the order slightly messed up here. There we go.
Do you need me to give it to you again?
No, I don't. I think I
Okay.
got it.
No.
Is that right?
No. Melisandus was after Hale. Switch Melisandus and Anissa. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the middle person.
Mm-hmm.
My computer is struggling. All right. So that should be the correct order. All right. So you find yourself in a large, fairly well lit room, filled with various and sundry furniture. Directly on the door, and actually, you think what we're gonna do, now that I'm thinking about it, if I were smart, which I can be sometimes. There we go. It'll get there. There we go. Boop, boop, boo. Okay, there we go. So you see the rainbow token,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
a rainbow D20. I have made it so that you all have access to it. So rather than move the entire party when we need to move, we can start with that, and if combat breaks out, we'll kind of maintain the order that you guys are in. You with me?
Cool.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yes, yeah.
It's the engine of the train.
Yes.
Choo-choo.
All right. So You step through into this large chamber that appears to be filled with a mishmash of kind of random and varying sizes furniture. For example, the large chest, like wardrobe that you can kind of see in the top left there, is that size to your scale.
Hmm.
So everything in this room is to scale.
Okay.
On the written on the door behind you as it closes, there is a plaque on which is written words in a language that I will impart to you momentarily here. Does anybody speak and or read Draconic?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So written on there in sort of an older, I guess for Melisandus, current Draconic dialect, are the words Mobi re inc janus thric mimics tempus wu, which means, literally translated, there are definitely no mimics here.
Hmm.
That's comforting. Not that I could read it, but
I am going to cast. Well, actually, I should double check here. The spells that I had kind of active on me before I got weeped into the Arcastorum,
Yeah.
were those still up on me, or did those kind of reset with the long rest?
Because you didn't actually take a long rest, you just got the benefits of a long rest. So yes, those spells would still be active.
Okay. Okay, so don't need to recast mage armor. I'm not going to take 10 minutes to cast this ritual. I'm just going to spell slot detect magic.
Okay.
Did somebody tell the rest of us who don't speak it what the plaque on the door says?
what's that say?
I say what it says.
Cool.
There are definitely no mimics here.
I start sniffing.
Sounds like a lie.
Okay.
Yeah, that does not. I wouldn't trust that.
I need for anybody who, with the detect magic, go ahead and make a perception check. Lyle, with your, because I think you get keen senses as a Cadoran, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll your sniff check. And if anybody else has anything they want to do, you should tell me now.
22.
Well,
18.
Vigil apparently can't be surprised, but
Good to know.
I'll have Vigil also make a perception check here.
It's a good thing for a creature named Vigil to be, is never surprised.
Fitting. Fitting.
Yeah, between me and the dog, you guys will never have to take a watch ever. Just throwing that out there.
That's true.
That's helpful.
Adam, did you say those with only those with detect magic make a perception check?
No, anybody can. I just was
Okay, got it.
clarifying more for my edification who has what going on.
I'm gonna cast detect magic as well.
Okay.
So
All
that
right,
I
so
see what is happening.
What did Vigil get?
Vigil got a 19.
Okay. Anissa, as you cast detect magic, go ahead and make a perception check. We'll jump back to you in a second. Melisandus, what did you roll?
18.
Okay. Lyle, what did you roll?
I rolled a 22.
All right. And Hale, did you roll anything?
Yeah, I rolled a 20 for a perception.
Okay.
Not
and
now.
then jumping back to Anissa.
I got 20.
Okay. Jesus Christ, you guys are perceptive as hell.
At least right now.
So for those of you with the detect magic up, you guys rolled fairly. You guys are perceiving a lot. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, the objects in front of you, all of them detect very faintly as magic. Um, Anissa, make an arcane check. I'm gonna give it to the fucking mage. It's illusion. It's
Hmm.
like a mishmash of illusion and transmutation.
I rolled a 2 and added 0 to it.
It's
So it was a
magic.
2.
Hmm. Would I be able to tell if this kind of mishmash of illusion and transmutation would be in line with that of a mimic?
Go ahead and make an arcane check while you roll that. Um, Vigil and Hail. Uh, this place is very quiet. Um, like unnaturally so. There's always certain level of ambient noise in almost any habitable structure. Uh, but this place is very quiet, very still. Um, you don't detect any motion or movement, but that does kind of track for creatures that are literally their entire evolution is dedicated to pretending to be other things, such that people don't know that they're not that thing. Um, Lyle, you get a weird scent. Um, do me you're fifth level at this point. Do me a favor, just roll a I'm gonna call this a luck die. Add your wisdom to it.
What kind of die?
D20. D20 plus your wisdom.
Okay. Okay. Natural 20
Nice. Total of?
for a total of 22. My
All right.
wisdom's not.
So you have encountered mimics before, and one of the things that they have is sort of a sticky adhesive on their outside, so that when you attack them, you can become, or your weapon can become stuck to the mimic itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of its sort of natural defense. That adhesive to those individuals that have a keen sense of smell does have a particular odor. You are sensing that odor here, but it's a little off. And you can't quite place why. I would allow you to make an Arcana check with that.
Yeah, Arcana is definitely something I have any skill in. It's a 13.
Okay, we'll get back to
It's
that in a second.
respectable.
Melisandus, what did you roll on your Arcane check?
Not great. 16.
Okay. Mimics are not magical by their very nature. They're weird creatures by certainly by anybody's metric, but they're not magical. They don't inherently radiate magic or otherwise unless they are tampered with by some outside force. Um,
Hmm.
so the fact that you're reading magic off of everything in the room means either they were tampered with or there's something else going on.
Hmm.
And then we'll jump back to Lyle as you were processing that information. Lyle, as you're not quite able to put your finger on it, but the adhesive smell. The best way I can describe it. Have you ever had a drink of something that was supposed to taste like? We'll go with orange. And the flavoring that they used was not real orange flavoring, but artificial orange flavoring. And like you
Mm.
can kind of tell that it's orange, but you also just get the hint that it's artificial.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Yeah.
kind of vibe you're getting off of this.
Okay. Is there like a strength to the scent that I could potentially tell if there's like one or if there's more than one?
Um, the scent that you're picking up is pretty coming from all manner of direction. Uh, you can safely say it's not coming from the walls. Mostly, it seems to be coming from the various objects that sort of make up the sort of labyrinth of the room.
Lyle just kind of, again, very briefly, walls are safe.
Great.
Just the walls. Just the walls are safe.
Nods.
Oh, good.
Something not right about this smell.
I think upon hearing that, Hale is going to cast Bless. Probably just at first level on Lyle, on Melisandus, and I get to do odd or even to decide the other one. For Anissa, why don't you? Which one is for you?
Even.
Even. And Anissa. So you three are blessed.
As a servitor of life, Hale, what does it look like when you bless somebody?
So when he blesses someone, he basically touches like his like chest, his heart, like almost draws out like a little like bead of light from it, and then from that like little thing in between his like three fingers here, it kind of spreads out to the people and kind of just infuses them with divine energy, or I suppose. Is it technically divine? I guess it is. Yeah.
It's still technically divine, yes. It's just
Yeah.
you're drawing your power not from a deity, but from life
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
And then remind us what bless does again.
D4 to attack and saving throws.
Got it. So, all of that information has been delineated.
For 1 minute. Okay.
What do you do?
I'd like to move about the room and sniff things.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're going to move as a
Kick
group.
down the door.
Actually, I will ask Melisandus. Would you allow me to cast a spell upon you?
Melisandus kind of cocks his head and gives you a little bit of a confused-esque look, but also kind of curious.
It is for your protection.
Very well. You may cast your spell.
I'll cast Warding Bond. So you'll want to stay within about 60 feet of me. While you're within that range, you'll get a +1 to AC, saving throws, and have resistance to all damage.
Oh, nice.
And I take the same damage you take.
Oof.
So it's funny to this completely above table at this point. It's funny to me. Schmoopsy is as a human being, such a warm, kind, cuddly human.
This is so weird.
To have him play such an aloof dick is a real.
Right?
There's some cognitive dissonance going on. Right, that's fine.
Mm.
You're doing a great job, but
Well, thank you.
it's just
Yeah.
really funny for me to be like, you're such a kind, loving human being, and you're just this aloof asshole in this game. I'm here for it.
Yeah, this is very against type, but I'm here for it. I'm loving it.
I'm excited to see how this plays out. Okay.
This is the kind of
Spells.
character that Saul would walk up to and flick in between the eyes and be like, lighten up.
Pull the stick out of your ass is probably what Saul would say.
Something of that nature.
So yeah, spells cast, information delineated. What do you guys do?
Well, can't just stand here.
Nope, I sniff check.
I'm going to use another first level spell slot and cast Unseen Servant. And then I'm going to have it start going around and like poking at different pieces of furniture. And
I love this.
moving small objects.
You see, or rather, don't see Joffrey appear. So there's kind of a running gag that it was never fully vocalized. I've decided in my head canon there's exactly one unseen servant that caters to every spellcaster ever, and his name is Joffrey. Um, so Joffrey doesn't appear because he's unseen. But you do sense his arrival as he just kind of manifests invisibly next to you,
Like you do.
and he immediately you direct him to go like touch some of the furniture.
Yeah, I'll direct him to like go push on that a little bit, or go open the doors of that wardrobe, or go pick up that small pot, or
Okay.
I go the opposite way of Joffrey because I don't want any of that poking stuff randomly nonsense.
Okay.
And I will.
Splitting the party. This is fun. Go ahead and move
It's
yourself.
splitting the party away from the unseen servant. It's fine.
Do you know where the unseen servant is to move
I
away
can
from
see
it?
wardrobe doors opening. I'm getting the fuck out of there.
yeah, they don't see Joffrey, but they see the things that Joffrey
Yeah.
is moving.
All right.
Got it.
So here's what I want you to do, Schmoopsy. I want you to move Melisandus to where the to next to the rainbow die is.
Okay.
I want you to move. Joffrey is going to be represented at this point by the rainbow die,
Oh, cool.
and you can move the die.
Okay.
Lyle, and I'm going to be moving as little as possible because my computer is real cranky with me right now. Lyle, why don't you move yourself onto the map?
Did.
And so we're going to start with Joffrey because Lyle is kind of reacting to Joffrey. So unless you declare otherwise, everybody is represented of where Melisandus is. Melisandus, go ahead and move Joffrey in the direction that you're going to have him start fucking with furniture.
I'll probably have him start with this little, I don't know what this is, like book stack,
Sure.
and then we'll
So,
have
yeah,
him
you
continue on westward
little-
in the room.
We'll keep this roundish. So yeah, it kind of futzes with it a little bit. Object interaction is free. Moves on. Move it where you want to move it to the next thing.
All right.
I am assuming that with my sniff, I would have been able to tell if whatever this furniture piece right here was a mimic or not, since I was right next to it.
As you're standing next to it, you're getting that sort of that scent that you had detected.
From this?
Yeah.
Okay. I will point that out to people and tell them not to touch it.
Okay, which thing did the mimic just touch and not think? Was it this
This.
thing? That?
Yeah.
Okay. My character is going to look through that pile of books? Tomes? What is that?
Yeah, they look like notebooks.
Yep. Looks like a
Really,
series
really
of,
big ones.
yeah, a series of very large journals. Is what it appears to be.
Okay, so Anissa's going to stay there
Okay. So put yourself there.
and look through those journals and see if they
So
have
you kind of
content.
pop open, you start looking through the journals. As you open the journals, you see there's writing kind of all over the pages, but it doesn't appear to be. It looks like a lot of glyphs.
Mhm.
It says, "I prepared explosive runes today," and you just kidding. No, it looks like a lot of glyphs and sigils, but a lot like nothing here that really seems to make any sense to you. If this is writing, it is not a language that you know.
She takes the book and exposes it to, like, turns it out story time style and shows it to the group that's, still real close to her and goes, does anybody recognize any of this?
I guess what languages do people speak?
I have
Melvish and common for me.
no
Say that again, Ben, you
common.
were real quiet.
Just Orc, Elvish, and Common for me.
Okay.
Just Gnomon common, apparently.
I'm not
Got-
there. I'm not over there.
Yeah, you're not
My-
there.
Nope, you can't see it.
My
I've got,
apologies. What languages or
Yeah, what languages do you speak?
Common, Draconic, Sylvan, and Primordial?
Okay.
And I've just got Common, Draconic, Elvish, Gnomish, and Orc.
Okay. Chapel, you're the only one that kind of recognizes it. It appears to be a version of Primordial, but it is not words in Primordial. Because here's the thing, Primordial isn't a written language. But like as you're looking at this, you're recognizing like there's some element of like the understanding of Primordial, how it works, how it functions as a language. Like you're recognizing like if I were to write down Primordial, this is how I would write down Primordial, but without some kind of basis of understanding of what the person who wrote down Primordial was thinking when they wrote it down, you actually have no way of actually interpreting it.
Okay.
In other words, you need some kind of key.
It looks like it may be some sort of cipher using elements of Primordial, but not in a normal method.
I'll keep looking through the books and see if there's any
Okay.
other languages or...
You go through, it's all pretty much this language as you're paging through them.
I want to sniff this.
Hang on, let me jump back to my... That is a phrase I never thought you'd say. What are you sniffing? Ping it again.
It's right here.
Okay, you are getting that same artificial-ish scent.
We hate this for us. I have a theory.
A dancing demon.
Something isn't right. I'm gonna come back around
Okay,
because I have a 40-foot move speed.
sure.
And I want to sniff the books that we have discovered are probably not mimics.
Okay. You get the same scent.
It all smells like fake mimic.
That would make sense. Pretty much everything in here is radiating some combination of illusion and transmutation, which a mimic normally would not exude. If you set the books aside for a moment, I will take a look through them once I am done having Joffrey search the room.
Well, yes, please let it poke more things. I will then investigate a little more fully.
In an effort to save a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
As Joffrey moves through and touches various things, nothing happens.
Okay, so he goes through and kind of like touches or pushes or pokes or prods or picks up everything in the room and nothing reacts.
If
I
Lyle continues sniffing,
Mm-hmm.
every single time you get the same scent.
After Joffrey pokes something, I approach and touch it. And, like, I open the wardrobe. I peek into the...
Yeah, maybe it needs
There's
living.
you open the
What is
wardrobe
that?
and there's a series of like fur coats, but like sized to that giant fucking wardrobe. So like a storm giant's fur coat.
The armor has nothing in it because it's armor.
Right. The armor is just empty, but it is armor, and it's again it is the size as compared to you.
That's very big.
I sniffed the door.
The one that you came through,
Yeah.
it does not have that smell.
I sniffed the plaque.
The plaque also does not have that smell.
Once I have Joffrey kind of touch everything in the room, I am then going to spend the next 10 minutes doing a ritual cast of comprehend languages.
Okay.
And then I will attempt to look at the journals.
Make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Ooh.
Ruh-roh.
Am I still blessed at this point?
You have your +1 and your D4.
Yes.
Lasts for 1 minute.
I know
Oh,
we're gonna
not
kind of
anymore.
handle it that it lasts
Okay.
for this scene. Like
So that will be a
combat, it'll
total
matter,
then.
but whatever.
Okay. Then it'll be a total of 17.
17? Okay. The as you cast comprehend languages, the
Bite me.
words and sigils, the sigils and markings on the page start to morph as they are wont to do when you cast comprehend languages into something that you can comprehend. It's the whole fucking point. But as they do, they morph into words that you very keenly recognize. There are things that you are not meant to know.
Hmm. I flip to the next page to see if it's basically just that written over and over again.
All work
Even
and
though
no
the
play
original,
make Jack a dull boy.
even though the symbols are all different.
Yep.
Kyle is getting very bored.
I'll just kind of mutter under his breath. If we weren't meant to know it, then don't put it in here in the first place. Well, the journals are worthless.
How so?
Magical attempts at determining their actual meaning are somehow being either magically blocked or it is all an elaborate prank in case one of us attempted to do so.
Sorry.
Joffrey does
Great.
point out that on the far side of the room there is another door.
Lyle strides over to the fucking door. Anything to get out of here at this point, because
Sure.
Hale will follow behind in backup.
and will
Saunders will go as well.
Anissa follows.
definitely sniff it before touching.
The door smells like a fake mimic.
I'm assuming that's a door right there.
I'm sorry, hang on one second. Ping one more time.
This is the door, yeah.
Yes, that is the door.
Cool. Fuck it. I grab the doorknob.
You grab the doorknob.
It's the
Your
mimic.
hand
Ah!
Totally
touches
eats
the
me.
doorknob. Nothing happens. You open the door, and there appears to be an egress.
I walk through because I'm sick of this.
Okay. Does anybody else follow?
Hale will follow, yeah.
Okay.
I'll watch through.
Yeah.
Yep,
You all
I'll follow.
walk through. As it turns out, there were definitely no mimics. And that, I think, is a good place to end it for this.
That was so bloody ridiculous.
Sometimes it's just a chair, people.
It's never just a chair. I don't care what you say.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so that was actually a puzzle trap thing that had been originally in the last Saul's Rest campaign in the Dwarven Mines when you guys fought the Red Dragon. And you guys bypassed like 30 to 40% of what was going on in that dungeon. So I'm like, fuck it, I got this. I may as well use it.
Dead.
So
Hashtag no regrets.
we are going to call it there. I want to thank everybody who tuned in whenever the hell this airs for watching. It's fun to be back in the saddle again, and I look forward to seeing where this goes for the next session. And maybe we'll get to meet the Magister in person as opposed to the disembodied voice. Will he or will he not live up to the standard that Melisandus is expecting of him? We'll find out.
I don't think anybody could live up to Melisandus's.
There's irony in that in ways that you don't know. At any rate, I want to say thank you to everybody for watching. Go follow Seven Tail Fox, Tale Fox, at his thing. He's doing the streaming every day challenge in June, this may not air in June, but he'll be doing a lot more streaming going forward as well. Maybe not every day because that gets to be prohibitively time consuming.
It's a lot.
It's definitely a lot.
His friends miss him.
Indeed, his friends do miss him. We had to yell at him to get off the stream yesterday to come join us in person for Bonfireage. And go follow our friend Epic_Realms for all manner of various video gaming, and podcasting shenanigans. You guys are awesome. We love you, and we will catch you the next time.
Bye.
Bye.